Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Nostalgic Podcast that takes you down memory lane and helps you relive and think about some of the most iconic and memorable moments of our past. My name is Ramona, and as always, I'm joined by my awesome co host and very dear friend, Jon.
How y'all doing, folks? I'm excited for this episode. We got some really good stuff coming. Today we got a very special episode today because instead of doing something with media, we're going to be looking at food.
Yep, we're dipping our fingers into an especially delicious topic, the snacks that raised us. You got that right, the sweet and savory snacks and lunches that kept us fed throughout our childhoods. Whether it was through a planned school treat, a packed lunch from home, or a sick lunch table trade, most of us ate
Mhm.
like kings and queens. Jon, can you give us a little background on how lunch, recess, and snack time worked in your youth?
Absolutely. So actually, snack time came before lunch and recess, surprisingly. When I was in elementary school, a lot of teachers did it that way. It wasn't until I think I got to fifth grade that they actually stopped snack time altogether, and then we just got lunch. And it wasn't because of any major reason or anything. I think it was just a teacher's choice. I don't think it was a curricular thing or something like, oh, we're not going to allow you to have snack or whatnot. Obviously, accommodations were made for the students that absolutely needed snacks,
Yeah.
obviously, but it wasn't like, kind of like, maybe you get like it's like 8, 9, maybe like 10 o'clock in the morning. They're kind of like, if you have a snack, go grab it. If not, I have some, gummy treats up here, or I have some, little bags of chips, or maybe some fruits and vegetables, stuff like that,
Yeah.
and whatnot. But that's kind of how that worked. And then we would go to lunch usually around. It kind of varied depending on what grade you were in. Obviously, the preschoolers and kindergartners went a lot earlier because they have only half a day, and they only had half
Yeah.
a day back in the day. And then the first and second graders would go about 11 to 11:30. The third and fourth graders would go at 11:30 to noon, and then the fifth and sixth graders would go from noon to 12:30, and then they would get time outside to play at recess after they finished lunch.
So would that happen in a cafeteria and then everyone would just migrate over to like say the outside play area?
Yes, in a sense that that's exactly how it would happen. And then the reason is because then the cleaning staff and the janitorial crew usually got about 10 to 15 minutes to clean the gym for the next group that were about to come in, because as you know, students are
Yeah.
very messy. So
Yes.
it was like theater. It was like being in like a movie theater environment. You have to get in there, clean fast, and then get ready for everybody to be there within like 15 minutes or less,
Only to do it over again for the next batch of
only
kids.
to do it over again for the next batch of students. Yeah. So, and we didn't have a dedicated cafeteria when I went to school. When I was in elementary school, we only had the gymnasium, and that functioned as the
Mm.
cafeteria.
Yeah, that's actually very common. That's actually what I did in high school. In my elementary school, we didn't have a cafeteria or a gym, so we ate outside on the outside tables, which is also where we had lunch. Now, when you guys had rainy days, would you guys stay in the gymnasium and then just have your snacks and then just continue staying in the gymnasium?
It would depend. If there was no thunder and lightning, they'd sometimes give us the choice. They'd be like, if you have raincoats, if you have stuff that you'd be able to
Hmm.
do, go outside and go play in the rain if you want. They were
Yeah.
just that was kind of how they were. But if there was thunder and lightning, obviously they could not let us
Yeah.
go outside. And then what they would do is we'd have an option of things we could do. We could either just stay in the lunchroom and kind of talk with our friends until recess ended, or in some cases, for certain students, they would put on a movie in one of the other rooms. But it was usually something like, like Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, something made for kids, a kids
Yeah.
movie and such.
But how great were those times where, especially if it wasn't during lunch or something, where you were
Right.
just in class and your teacher rolled out that big box TV with the VHS and was like, I have snacks for you guys, or bring out your lunches. And it was just a quiet
Yes.
pause
Yes.
from
Yes.
from the hustle and bustle of elementary academia.
So here's the thing. In third grade, you'll never believe this. When I got to third grade, my teacher would actually allow us to have snack, and she would put on the one and only, the greatest Reading Rainbow.
Oh man, I'm jealous of
Yeah, I'm
that.
not even
Oh
joking. I'm not
man.
even joking. Yeah, absolutely. So,
Oh
and
man.
then we could have snacks. Sometimes she'd bring some stuff, and then of course we'd have to be taking notes while we're watching it because we'd
Yeah.
have like a little quiz later on the week. But can you imagine having a quiz on Reading Rainbow? I'm not gonna lie, I aced so many of those because I watched Reading Rainbow so avidly growing up as a kid. That was like the
Yes,
only
yes.
thing I aced. Everything else I was so terrible at.
Trust me, if I were given that test, I probably would do pretty okay. But if it were on a show like, say, Dragon Tales or so, I would definitely ace that. For those of you guys who have been listening to us for a while, you guys know that we are avid fans of PBS. So
Yes,
anytime that PBS and either school or work life would combine, that was just the best case scenario
it
for,
absolutely
for
was.
John or I.
Yeah, 100%. It sure was. But I'm excited though. I think this is going to be a great episode. Now I got to ask you real quick.
Yes.
How did snack time and lunch work for you back in your day as well?
Yeah, so when I was in elementary school, I went to a school that was K through 8. So this was pretty much the schedule for the entire school, just at a different allotted times. So you would have recess, which was also your snack time, and you could it would happen outside. So you could sit on the tables, enjoy your snack, and then play outside for 15
Okay.
minutes. And then lunch was similar. We would eat outside and then have about a half an hour to play. Once we started getting into middle school, the playtime was obviously taken out, so we would just be sitting in the hallway eating our snacks and lunches.
Okay.
And for me, snack time was definitely just a fuel stop. It was like, okay, or recess, excuse me. It was a fuel stop so that I can have energy to play. Now lunchtime is when I actually really, really loved to just open up my lunchbox or open up my hot lunch that I purchased and then just go to
Right.
town. I have some of the best memories with impromptu snack situations that
Mhm.
happen, just like you were saying about a
Right.
teacher rolling out the TV and then offering snacks.
That's what's up.
Or
Okay.
yeah, those are the best memories I have when it comes to snack and lunchtime, because it was just a
Wow.
routine that you could expect, and
Right.
it was so nurturing too, because like at home you don't really have certain allotted times, or a
No.
lot of families don't have that, and at school everything is just so structured and perfect, and to know, oh, in a half an hour I get to eat some snacks, that was the best.
That is so cool. Like, like you said, it became routine. It just was kind of like a
Yeah.
thing where it's like you go in every day and then they're like, oh, okay, snack time, do this. And then, like you said, they roll out the TV, they do all that kind of stuff. Now, let me
Mhm.
ask you, did you get that throughout your whole elementary school experience, or did they eventually cut that off at some point like they did mine?
Because they didn't have a specific time for snack time and it was just recess, no, they didn't cut it off, just because we
Okay,
had two moments throughout the school day to eat, which was
that's
recess
good.
and lunch. So we didn't really have to have that transition. The only thing that actually transitioned was where we ate as
Mhm.
kids. So
Yep.
when you get into middle school, we had a different area to eat, and we had a little bit more access to the rest of the school grounds to hang out and have our snacks. Whereas K to about fourth or fifth, you had your own little tables outside where you would eat and then have your lunch and then go out and play. So nothing really changed schedule wise when it came to when we ate. It's just basically how and where we ate.
One thing I'm just going to ask you real quick before we actually get into the actual meat and potatoes of what we're going to talk about today is do you ever remember like when standardized testing would come around and then they would bring out a whole thing of like granola bars,
Oh
chips,
my
all that kind of
gosh.
stuff?
Yes.
It was like the
Now,
morning of, like right as you were getting ready, like whether it was like for Ames or whatever kind of testing they
oh
had,
yeah.
even in
Hmm.
high school they kind of did that
Even in
when we
high
started doing
school.
like the PSAT,
Yeah.
all that stuff. They would get snacks out.
Yeah, and to be completely honest, that was the only saving grace of that moment, because I've to this day have never been able to complete a standardized test, just because my brain
Yeah,
works a little bit slower than the average person when it comes to
same.
certain things. So, I would just be munching on my granola bar and there goes half the test time, and so the saving grace of that day
Mhm.
was to be able to have and indulge in these snacks, because the tests were already so stressful.
Yep.
It was nice to just be able to open up a little cheese cup and have your little crackers and dip them in and distract yourself from it. What
Mhm.
about you? What was your favorite snack during a, like, say, a standardized test or something like that?
Well, that's when I got into those Quaker, what do you call them? Granola bars, like the
Those are the
chocolate
best.
chip and the,
Yes, with the drizzle of
yeah.
chocolate on top too, and
Yeah, 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 yeah,
mhm.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, those were the classic staple. Of course, they'd have like bananas, apples, which I unfortunately paid no mind to.
Yeah, no, it's all about the granola.
And I got a funny story later about that. But yeah, no, absolutely. We'd get some snacks, we'd be able to get some stuff. And then I went to the sped room because that's where I tested
Oh, okay.
most of the time. Because, well, even though I had not been diagnosed with autism at the time, I still had a learning disability as well. So I would go
Mm.
down to sped, and that's where I did all of my standardized testing.
Yes, unfortunately, the Catholic school I went to wasn't necessarily.
Oh,
It,
right,
it
right,
didn't
right.
really offer anything for students with.
I
If anything, they just held them back, and
unfortunately.
unfortunately, they didn't have the resources. But I'm assuming schools nowadays are sort of forced to do that too for students of all types of learning abilities.
Yeah, and now it's kind of more like, you can't,
Standard
yeah,
practice.
it's more standard practice, and they're also trying to really implement and get that into even religious circles as well. They're
Mm,
really trying to help, kind of get that in there as well. So I
that makes
thankfully
sense.
I think they are starting to get more of that in those areas. But yeah, no, I can completely understand because
Yeah.
had I not been diagnosed even with a learning disability, I still wouldn't have had those opportunities open to me
Yeah, that's fair
as I was because
for
I was
sure.
not diagnosed as being on the autism spectrum until I think I was like 13 or 14.
Mm,
So I was
mm.
diagnosed a bit. I was diagnosed later in life.
Oh, yes. As it's common for women also to be diagnosed later in life as well. And
Right, right.
I was diagnosed actually when I was about 21. So I was
Wow.
way out of school at that
Wow.
point.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
100% for sure. But anyhow, I gotta ask you, my friend. So it's kind of like, when we think of snacks, obviously
Yeah.
school is one facet, but the home was like another really cool place where we had a
True.
lot of really good stuff that we could eat. And half the time, that's where we got a lot of those things. I have a question. What were your go-to snacks that you always had just stocked up in your house?
My mom, who was the primary grocery shopper,
Right.
actually the only grocery shopper in
That
the
sounds like
family.
my life too. Yeah, my
Yeah.
mom was that for years too. Yeah.
Not gonna lie, depending on her mood or, her wallet or whatever, that determined what kind of snacks were brought home.
Okay.
Now, sometimes we would have certain snacks at home that we couldn't depend on would be there the next week. But
Right.
staples that we did have on a regular basis were cheese sticks,
Okay.
fruit, and
Hmm.
hot pockets, believe it or not.
Oh, hot pockets. I forgot. I forgot about hot pockets.
For some reason, you could not open my fridge without seeing either of those three items. They were just
Wow.
always stocked in because they were just quick and easy foods that you could just feed the
Absolutely.
kids.
Hmm.
And those are so memorable to me because even to this day, as an adult, I won't stock my refrigerator with that stuff because I know how it'll affect my adult body. But
Right.
man, do I miss it.
I'm unfortunately in the other camp, even though I know it's bad. Sometimes I still stock it because
Well, I have diabetes and I want to keep my
right,
toes,
right,
so I
right,
got to be
right.
on top of it.
Absolutely. No, you absolutely have to be on top of it for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about in general. Like, I remember, like, I know for one is like, I obviously probably should not be having, what do you call it? Spicy food because of how it messes with me, but I love spicy food so much that sometimes I still eat it,
It's
even
hard.
though
It's hard not to indulge. It's
it's
hard.
hard not to indulge, absolutely, and whatnot. But a lot of the snacks that I had were just standard things. Even I was huge. I was and I am still a massive Dorito hound.
Oh
That's the thing.
heck yes.
Doritos are my go-to. Now I'll admit in my adult life I have backed off a bit just because they do kind of mess with my stomach now a little bit as I've grown older
Okay,
and because of how much I've eaten them throughout my life, if you know what I mean.
that's fair.
I don't stack them as often, but occasionally, you indulge here and there. Of course, stuff like, fruit snacks. Now my go-to snack after if I couldn't get my hands on Doritos was pretzels, especially the
Ooh, okay.
Snyder and Roll Gold.
Oh
brand
yeah.
of pretzels.
Okay.
Those were my go-to. And those were actually the snack that my mom was totally, absolutely cool with me always having. So
Yeah.
I absolutely love my pretzels. I'm a massive pretzel hound. I still stack pretzels in my house. I love pretzels.
What was your go-to shape?
My go-to shape, oh, twists.
Twists, yeah. That's
Absolutely twists.
awesome.
I know
That's
I know a lot
awesome.
of people like the sticks because obviously, they're just kind of easy and especially if you're young. Well, actually no, if you're not if you're young because you can easily choke on those, but
True. Yeah.
um
I
I
like the
know.
sticks because they reminded me of like the suaveness of a cigarette.
Oh my gosh.
And as a child, you should not be thinking that. But for some reason, if you're a 90s kid, there were just cigarettes everywhere in pop culture. So
Yeah.
you couldn't help but,
Even though smoking was on its way out, like pop
yeah,
culture was still filled with a lot of characters
still.
smoking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
still.
so did you ever do that with like those pretzels?
Heck yeah. I also got the cigarette candy, and it's
Oh,
actually
the candy cigarettes?
yeah, exactly, exactly. It looks like little pieces of chalk, and then you just put them in your mouth, and they're made to look like cigarettes, but they're just hard
And then and
candy.
then and then and then you have that pepper not pepper, what am I saying? Oh my God, not pepper. Absolutely not pepper. What am I talking about? Like the it's not chalk, but it's like that little powder stuff. So when you inhale and you blow it out, it kind of can give the illusion that you're smoking a
Oh
cigarette.
yeah. No,
I
exactly. I had one of those too.
I remember one year I was on a trip and we were in Washington D.C. and we had traveled just outside of that and we were in I think we were somewhere in Virginia. I can't exactly remember where in Virginia, but we were in Virginia for a little bit. And the next thing you know, we stopped at this old shop because we explored this ghost town. And the person who gave us that tour, she led us at the very end of the tour to a candy shop. And it had a lot of vintage candy that you don't find anymore. And one of the
Mm,
items that was in there were candy cigarettes. And I
yeah.
remember all of us bought them, and then by the end of the trip, they all got confiscated.
No way.
I'm not
I
even
do
joking.
understand that. I mean,
I'm
I
not
do
even
get
joking.
it.
Like because we did that, like we all were chilling back in our hotel rooms, and we were doing that, and they said everybody come meet in this room, and we are like okay, because they had a conference room, and I guess they asked the hotel staff, can we use this conference room because we need to have a meeting with the kids, and they were
Oh
like yeah sure,
wow.
and then all of a sudden, then we came out. And then they said, we heard a bunch of you bought candy cigarettes, and then they took a big bucket and they said, everybody drop them in here. You
I mean,
cannot
it
have
makes
any.
sense. It's in one way or another advertising and shining in a good light the use of the repetitive use of smoking, and that's definitely not something that
Hmm.
you would see nowadays. um
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
you'd get
yeah.
canceled.
No, for sure. Absolutely. And so like, yeah, I remember that was a very vivid memory I have of a school trip with that. But no, I just had a lot of stuff. And then of course my mom often stack stuff. Of course she also tried to have healthy stuff. Funny enough, when I was a very little kid, I actually did like a lot of more healthier stuff. I ate carrots. I ate a lot more healthier stuff. I loved
Mm,
raisins. I love snacking on nuts. I
mm.
love doing that kind of stuff. But I think as I started to grow older, I got a little bit spoiled by both my mother and my grandmother, and I started getting exposed to chocolate, chips, all this other stuff, and
Gotcha.
then that's what turned into that. I became a bit of a junker.
So would you say then that you grew up more with homemade snacks over prepackaged, or was it like a nice balance?
It was definitely a mix of both. It was a nice balance for sure. Obviously my mom would make snacks, throughout the day because for about 12 years of my life, she was a stay-at-home mom. So she had obviously a lot of time on her hand because she was just raising me. So she would often, make snacks sometimes when
Mm,
I'd come home. So I was homeschooled for about the first I want to say 4 or 5 years of my life before I finally entered an elementary school. So
okay.
oftentimes, when I was homeschooled, my mother would simply just, give me some lessons and then she'd maybe make me a snack, maybe a mix of like pretzels with maybe some like cheese or something like that.
Oh, that's delicious.
And like when I say cheese, I mean she'd either cut cheese like
Hmm.
pre-cut or she would get cheese sticks. And I was a big fan of
Mm.
Colby Jack cheese as a
Oh
kid.
yes, those are the best.
And then now I'm a huge pepper jack fan. So
Yeah,
how
no,
the
I mean it's a nice transition.
it is a very nice transition. And actually it was probably about when I was like 12 or 13 that I really started wanting to have pepper jack cheese. And even when I go to places like Subway, whatnot, I always get pepper jack.
Oh yeah,
Um,
put that with a little bit of almonds, maybe some salami. You got yourself a very high protein, delicious snack too.
Yeah, for me was turkey meat, like deli meat.
Oh yeah,
So
deli meat. I
yeah,
loved deli meat.
it was either turkey meat or it was pastrami. Pastrami's my go-to.
I love pastrami
Unfortunately, I
too.
cannot have salami because of religious reasons, but
Yes, yeah.
I do remember, a lot of my friends who had salami and we would get salami for other people, but we never
Yeah.
personally would eat that. So, but
No,
no, it was
that's
good
fair.
stuff. But to tell you the truth, that was one. But then also sometimes we just had a bag of chips that were in there, or maybe we had a box of I'm sure you remember these, the Scooby Doo gummies. We'd
Oh,
have a
heck
box of
yeah.
those in the back or
Heck
something like
yes.
that. And so,
The blue and the green were the best.
yeah, absolutely. The blue and green and the purple too were good as well. So,
Oh,
um,
I can't remember the purple one, what it would taste like.
oh no, no,
Uh,
no, 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 no. I meant the packaging. Sorry.
oh, the purple packaging.
Yeah,
Yup,
yeah,
yup.
yeah, yeah,
With the
yeah.
mystery machine and oh, yes.
Yep. So I remember those. So it was a nice balance of both.
Mm.
Obviously my mom eventually had to start hiding the chips and the gummies because I would often go into the drawer and just grab a handful. So my
They're
mom,
addicting. That's why they're made that way because like us kids, self-control, moderation is difficult when it
yeah,
comes to these things because
yeah,
they're so
yeah, yeah,
delicious.
absolutely, yeah, yeah, for sure. No,
Yeah.
that's definitely funny. But no, what about you?
I grew up mostly with prepackaged, but every now and then my mom would get like Triscuits and put deli
Oh,
ham or
Triscuits. Yeah,
deli
yeah.
bologna or something over it. Or she would cut up carrots and celery, stuff like that. But mostly when it came to snacks that I would either bring to school or munch on in between doing homework at home and soccer practice or something like that, were mostly cheese sticks. And that, of course, is prepackaged. So I would say it my mom would like to think that it was balanced, but I know for a fact that I ate way more prepackaged food than I did homemade food.
It was a mix of both. It depended on the day. It depended on what my mom was doing if she had the time.
For
Um,
sure.
And then as I got older, she would also teach me how to make the snack. So she'd be like, "Hey, if I'm not able to make it for you, you can make the snack yourself." So
Yeah,
that was really
absolutely.
good life skills as well, being able to do that.
Yeah, 100%. Especially, once you go off living on your own, you got to feed yourself. And, as a kid, no one teaches you how to do that except for your parents,
And let me
really.
and let me tell you, I'm just gonna put this out here right now. And as you grow up, you also realize that you can't survive on fast food forever. In
No, you
fact, you do.
cannot.
In fact, it is not good to survive on fast food forever because
No,
not only is it
no.
gonna drain your wallet, it's gonna mess your health up after a while.
Heck yeah. I mean, hello, heart disease. Jeez.
Yeah, right, exactly. So like that's why I always got to kind of be careful looking out for that. But absolutely. Now I got to ask you too. So kind of it's interesting, seeing all the snacks that we made that we had, but the question I have for you is, even though we had, a bunch of, classic iconic stuff in our kitchen,
Yeah.
what were some of the brands that kind of dominated not just your house, but even just kind of where when you went to school, when you went to other places, like what were some of the big brands that you consumed, I guess?
Oh man, oh man. And we were big on brands. Kids are big on brands.
Oh yeah.
If your family can
Oh
afford
yeah.
brands, you're gonna pick the brands because they're the ones with the colorful characters, they're the ones with the notable characters, recognizable characters, they're the ones with the deals and stuff like that. And
Unlike
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, unlike generic, which was just like maybe like a little small ball gummy that had very little flavor.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. At the time, nowadays you have generic brands actually stepping up the game and sometimes being bigger or better than their
Low
name brand
key, true.
counters.
Yeah, absolutely.
But back in the day, the snacks that you could find when my mom replenished the snack table or the snack pantry at my house, and if she was in the right mindset to actually get the non-generic brands, she
Mhm.
would get Yogos,
Yeah.
Yoplait Tricks, Danimals,
Oh
Gushers,
my gosh.
Lunchables, Foot by the
Yes.
Foot, Cheez-Its, Pop Tarts, Capri Suns,
Mhm.
Goldfish, cheese sticks, and then
Ah, Capri
lunch.
Suns.
Let me know if you had any of these, my friend.
Okay.
Chef Boyardee, Campbell's Soup,
Occasionally. Campbell's soup all the
Totino,
time.
yeah, Totino's Pizza Rolls,
Totino's,
Lunchables
yes.
again,
Lunchables, yes.
Hot Pockets, Kraft Mac and
Yes.
Cheese, Bar S Hot Dog Weenies, and Bar S Bologna.
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
not
All
the
of the
last two, but
Well, maybe not
the
the
other
yeah,
ones.
maybe not the last two, but a
Yeah.
lot of those for sure.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was a
yeah.
massive Campbell soup person. I was a huge
Heck
fan
yeah.
of their tomato soup, especially
Oh, the
as a
best.
kid. The tomato soup was the bomb. Like that
With
was
the
my
grilled
lunch
cheese.
most days. Yeah, 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 absolutely. And the thing that was best about that tomato soup was it had so much flavor.
It
Like
had so
holy
much
mackerel.
flavor.
Yep. And then of course I also really liked oh my God, what was it? I also like their cream of broccoli as well. That was another one of my favorite. I don't see that one on
Ooh.
shelves a lot of times anymore, though. Sadly,
Probably not that popular.
I
I
don't know
love
why.
the
Because
clam chowder too.
I've never had the clam chowder. I've
I
had the
love clam
cream of
chowder.
potato. I've
Oh, the
had
cream of potato's so
the
good.
cream of potato is really good. That slaps really good.
Yeah.
I also had the cream of celery. I've had I think I had the lentil at one time. That was a brand that was
Oh, the
introduced a bit
lentil.
later, but my
Okay.
go-to always when I was a child was the tomato soup. That was my favorite.
Now, when we were younger, they actually released Campbell's to go, and they were
Right.
in, I don't know if you remember, they were in plastic containers. You could just pop them in the microwave and then you could
Yes,
just
yes, yes, yes,
drink
yes, yes.
it.
I do
Did,
remember those.
did you ever have that as a snack at school?
I did. I was not a fan though. That was just me. It had a little
That's
bit of
fair.
a lesser quality than the actual soup, and I
Yeah,
just realized that this isn't it for me. So yeah,
that's fair. And not everyone has access to a microwave at school too.
yeah,
Like if you don't have a friend in the teacher's lounge or something like that, you're gonna be drinking cold soup.
absolutely, absolutely, and that was the
Yeah.
unfortunate part.
And then
Yeah.
what brands dominated your household?
Oh my gosh, so many. I already mentioned a couple: Doritos, Fruit Roll-Ups, um, Chips Ahoy,
Oh
Oreos,
yeah.
Grips, Cheez-Its. I don't know if do you remember Grips?
Are they the little star-shaped Cheez-Its?
No, no, no. They're the little like small like pellet sized either cookies, Cheez-Its. Let me see if I can find a picture for you real quick.
Let me see. Can you spell it for me?
GRIPZ.
Gripz. I see. Oh yeah, yeah, the Cheez-Its ones were the
Yeah,
little
yeah,
star
yeah, yeah,
ones.
yeah,
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 I
yeah, yeah.
loved
These.
those. I
Yeah.
loved
That
those.
was my stuff as a kid. Yeah,
Oh my
exactly.
God, I completely forgot about that. Whoa, are they discontinued or do they still sell them?
They still sell them.
Oh, okay, cool. I might actually stop by
I'm not
Target
even.
later
Yeah,
and
I was
pick
thinking
some
about
up for
stopping by,
myself.
picking some up. Yeah, take back with me.
Yeah, yeah.
But
That's so funny.
Also, I have to ask you: do you remember? So, like, we were more, and I don't want to speak for you either, but I think we were more like, and we loved our fruit roll ups. We loved those long fruit roll
Yes.
thingies and stuff.
Hmm.
But do you ever remember those kids that brought the Jovi fruit roll, which was basically the more healthy alternative of that?
Spell that for me. Let me see, because I might remember the
Jovy, and then just fruit roll after that.
root roll. Okay, let me see.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because that was like almost like the healthy.
Oh my gosh.
You
This is a
remember?
blast from the past. You know what?
Exactly.
I don't have any memories of kids
Yeah.
bringing them, but some teachers would bring those for us.
Right, right,
Oh my
right. Yeah,
gosh.
I had a bunch of friends who brought those because their parents wouldn't let them take fruit roll-ups, obviously because of,
You know, that makes sense.
the
The
sugar,
the
tea, all that
dyes.
stuff, the dyes.
Yeah.
Oh man, you know what?
Oh
I'm about
man.
to admit this for the first time, and this is a probably bad idea, but we're doing an episode on food, right? I have
Yeah.
not eaten breakfast yet. All I've had is a protein drink, so
And I'm currently having my protein drink,
that's
so
what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up. So
we have not done
definitely,
our homework, guys.
yeah, we have not. We are not living by our example that
No, we are
we.
not. No, we
But
are not.
I just had to bring that up real quick. But otherwise, yeah, Jovi fruit rolls, Cheez-Its, and of course the Scooby Doo fruit snacks. Those were
Oh yeah.
staple in my home when I was young. I also really liked the I don't know if you remember the Welch's fruit snacks.
Oh, those are the best. And then that one time, well, it was like a period of maybe like 10 years where Cinemark and I think even Harkins had them in their kids packs.
Yeah, they did.
Yep, those were the best.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, I remember the kids packs at the movie theater. Those were the best. It was like
Hmm.
popcorn and icy, and then like either a candy bar or fruit snacks, depending on what you
Yep.
want.
Yep, exactly. Oh, the best. But now I realize as an adult, I would love to have that, but on a scale to fit the adult's appetite because
Like
it's like
instead
a
of like
handful of popcorn.
instead of a handful of popcorn, like give me a give like give me like a full thing of popcorn with maybe like a drink and like a candy bar or something, or like,
That
or a
doesn't
packet.
cost more than
Yeah,
$40.
exactly. Or like cookie dough bites or like Reese's
Yeah.
Pieces or
Hmm.
Jolly Rancher, something to that effect.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Or three packages of the Welch's fruit snacks, because you can know one of those packets I can probably just swallow in one bite. I'm not gonna lie.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. Now, since we talk about also all the brands that dominated and we had, were there any that your parents never bought but you always wanted or had when they didn't buy it for you that you had to buy yourself or something?
You know what? I was actually never restricted in that way.
Oh, lucky.
I wasn't necessarily told no, you can't get it because it's bad or something like that. If I was told no about a snack, it was because it was either too expensive
Hmm.
or I was the only one that wanted it. I have two
Ah,
younger brothers, so it sort of had to come to a vote to where we can all eat it and enjoy it. My dad was more of the health conscious parent, but he never went
right,
grocery
right,
shopping
right.
with us. So that sort of went out the window.
So he
But
was the kind that was always scolding you, being like, "You all need to eat healthy," but didn't really actually put it into action.
1000%,
Okay,
you just read him
okay.
like a book. But the only thing that I was denied from childhood even into early adulthood were energy drinks. And I'm so
Right,
thankful
same,
about that
same,
because
same.
I know that would have just made my diabetes come a lot earlier in my
Yeah,
life. Um,
I I
but other than
avoid.
that, I
Go
was
ahead.
never told no.
Okay, very cool. I avoided energy drinks until I got to high school, and then I started having a
Mm,
lot of energy drinks, and that's actually kind of what messed my health up.
gotcha,
And
gotcha. Yeah.
occasionally, yes, I will have Celsius, but other than that, I try not to drink energy drinks anymore. I won't
Mm,
drink Monster. I won't drink Rockstar. I won't drink any of those major brands, Rain, any of those. The only energy drinks I will have now are either the ones that are a little bit more health conscious, even though there's no such
mm,
thing as really a healthy energy drink. So like
true.
Celsius or some of those other ones, or occasionally a very small can of Red Bull, but that's it.
No, yeah, there were some kids in like middle school that would have in their lunchbox just like a bag of hot Cheetos and then a Monster. And I'm like, are you guys a
Like
28-year-old
that's
bachelor
wild.
guy or are you
That's
seven?
wild. That's wild. That is
Yeah.
wild. Like
At that point, you got to question the parents'
you do
choices
have to
if the
question the
parent.
parent choices. In my opinion, I don't think any kid under the age of I would say probably 15 or so should not be drinking energy drinks.
No,
That's
no, it's
just
going
my
to stunt
opinion,
your
but yeah.
growth. It's going to stunt your growth.
Well, we'll see about that. They said that about coffee, and I still grew, even though I drank coffee ever since I was like 9 or 10.
Oh
So,
well, I'm on the other side of that because I stopped growing in 6th grade, so I'm still gonna blame it on the
oh,
coffee, not
okay, fair
genetics. Oh
enough, fair
heck
enough,
no,
fair
just the
enough,
coffee.
fair enough. Okay, okay, okay,
No,
fine, fine, fine.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But like, what were snacks or brands that like for some reason like the parents were just like absolutely not, John. You got to find an alternative.
Right. Okay. There are a few. So, obviously, the one that they never bought me that I liked were Capri Suns, especially the fruit punch flavor.
Ooh, was there like a specific reasoning for that?
Too sugary.
Nope, that's a
Yeah.
valid
And it
reason
was
for
the same
sure.
with Kool-Aid bursts. Never could drink those. Never,
Oh,
never allowed me to drink those. My mom actually, I remember one time someone brought Kool-Aid Burst for like a birthday party that they were
yeah,
having in
those
class.
were common too.
It was a cupcake and it was and then they also had for a drink a Kool-Aid Burst, which I thought was really dope. And I remember
Mm.
I drank one day and I came home and my teeth were blue from the drink.
Oh, it gave it away.
Yeah, I gave it away. So I mean, my mom wasn't too happy about it, but I mean,
Yeah.
she's like, you know what? It was a birthday party. I'm not gonna get
Set
upset.
and setting for sure.
Exactly. Another one that I really like, again, the Welch's fruit snacks. I loved them, but we hardly got them,
Yeah.
and such. So I always had to get those whenever I was out or I was at a store or something. And then
Yeah.
the other one that I never got that I absolutely loved is something I don't think is made much anymore. But do you remember Oreo Cakesters?
Oh my God. Yes, I do. Yes, I freaking do. Oh my
Never let me get
gosh.
those, even though I loved them.
I think I got them every now and then, but I didn't like them enough to want to continue buying them. Was it the same thing? The sugar, the amount of sugar in each of the Cakester snacks?
That one I don't know, to be honest with you, but they never really
Mm,
told me. They just maybe it
mm,
was the price. I don't know. They just
mm.
said that it's not something we're gonna have. If you want Oreos, we'll get you Oreo cookies.
What about a snack or brand that you'd never tried, so you don't know if you like
Yeah.
it, that was like banned?
Um, I think the only stuff was like maybe really sugary stuff,
Mm.
like Twinkies. Not that they
You
were banned.
you've never tried a Twinkie?
I've never tried a Twinkie. I've
Really?
never,
Okay.
okay, I'm
Okay.
28 years old and I've never tried a Twinkie.
You're honestly not missing much, my
I've
friend. You
heard
are
that
not.
that I'm not missing a whole lot because really it's just a cake thing with just a filling, and it just a lot of people say it just tastes like you took a spoonful of sugar and just swallowed it all at once.
That's the thing. As a kid, it's a novelty. It's something that every kid wants. But then when you're an adult, you're like, I need to eat a bushel
Mm.
of broccoli now after this because I
Now,
just feel like my teeth are
mm,
rotting.
now I have had other Hostess products, um,
Like the little
uh,
Debbie's, stuff
the
like
little
that.
Debbie's, the
The
little
coconut
cupcakes
things.
that they make. I never had the
Yeah.
coconut ones. I've had the little cupcakes. I've had the little donuts. I've had
Yeah.
those little things, but
Ding
I
dongs.
I think I have had ding dongs, but I've never tried a Twinkie.
I mean, that's
So,
fair. That's fair. The only reason it would make a cultural resurgence, or when it did, was in the mid 2000s when it was pretty much the main theme behind Zombieland. But other than that,
oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
there hasn't been a lot of love for the Twinkies, and then they disappeared for a good chunk of time as well,
They
too.
did. They did. Twinkies were only really popular in pop culture and movies, I feel like more so than they were,
Really?
excuse me, with the general public. But I knew people who loved
Yeah.
Twinkies as well,
Oh
you
yeah.
know. So,
Yeah.
yeah, Twinkies just never tried them, never had them, and I'm still virgin to it. So,
Yeah, that's an absolutely fair thing to be a virgin to, because I mean, like I said, it's just it's nothing special. It's nothing
right.
special at all. It's a tiny little thing, like you said, that you're biting sugar. It's
Yeah,
literally
yeah,
just
yeah,
sugar,
yeah.
so you're not
Absolutely.
missing out for
Absolutely.
sure. But were there snack items or food items that were considered fancy, that made you feel either separated from other people or made other people feel separated from you because they had them?
You know, I'm really glad you asked me this question, and there's a reason why. Because I remember a specific story. You're gonna think this is crazy when you hear this, but
Okay.
this is a very true story.
All
We
right.
had a kid that used to hang out with us. By the time I got to fifth grade, I actually started making some friends.
Mm,
And we had this one kid that hung out with us. Nicest kid. I loved him, and I'm still in touch with him to this day. Actually, he's a very
mm.
good friend of mine. And basically every day, I'm not even joking, he would bring in some really good chocolate. And we're not just talking Hershey's or Twix or anything. Forget about all those. This guy was a pro. He would bring in Godiva and Ferrero Rocher.
Oh my God. If you had Ferrero Rocher when we were kids,
That was huge.
you were royalty,
That was like the
because
Cadillac of snacks.
1000%, because it was so freaking expensive at the time. It still is expensive, but also the packaging, it's so luxurious. The commercials, it felt like you
Mm.
were buying the Mercedes of freaking
Yeah,
chocolate.
right. Mercedes, BMW, Cadillac, whatever you want to call it. Yeah,
Absolutely,
and so
absolutely.
And so, but the thing is, it was never just one piece. He'd always have like five or six pieces, and he never wanted to eat them by himself. So what would he do? He'd give the rest to all of us.
Oh, good for him, because I know for a fact all five of those pieces would have been in my mouth by the end of lunch.
And another one I also kind of remember. I don't know. Do you remember Sun Chips?
Sun chips. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I still eat sun chips to
Yeah.
this
So here's
day.
the thing. Sun Chips, I saw them more as luxurious because I never saw them as mainstream as some of the other snacks, if that makes sense.
Oh,
So, like, sometimes when I would see kids with a bag of Sun Chips, I'm like, okay, they must. I'm not saying they come from any kind of like, higher end things, but they was almost kind of like, it was a bit of a novelty, is what I'm trying to say. Because most of
gotcha.
the time you'd see kids with, Fritos, Doritos,
Yeah.
Cheetos, stuff like that, but rarely did you see people bring in Sun Chips. I mean, they're popular items. They
Mm.
still sell them. I think Sun Chips are great, but I just didn't see them that often. So that's why I kind of saw them as a bit of a
Oh.
luxury.
For me, now that I think about it, I realize I didn't start eating sun chips until high school, but that's because I
Right.
didn't know about them. So I think
Same.
had people brought them into school, I would have thought the exact same thing when I was younger.
Absolutely. And it was usually the adults that had them. So, like a teacher that was watching us that
Mm,
was
okay.
snacking, or maybe, if a student was like, hey, I need to eat something, I don't feel right. And then they
Yeah.
give them a bag. I'd see them with a bag of Sun Chips,
Oh, yeah.
along with maybe like like an orange juice or like, something of that
Mm,
effect. And
yeah.
so, yeah. And so that was kind of one thing I always kind of remembered as well. So that's kind of why I saw them as that. What about you?
To be completely honest, there wasn't anything specific like a brand, but when a student brought like a bento box of something or brought like sushi, I'd be like, "Oh man, you're
Oh,
you're you're,
yes,
you're
yes, yes.
living like
Yes,
Larry
yes,
right
yes,
there.
yes,
That is
yes.
awesome." And then
Or
sometimes you'd have the occasional green juice, like the child whose parents are super fit and
Mhm.
super into health conscious
Right.
food choices, they would have like fruit juices that were blended at home.
Hmm.
And I was never jealous about that, but I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting approach to feeding your child. Uh,
Hmm.
as a child, I would have much rather had like a Lunchable, but now as an adult, it would have been so cool as a child growing up with like sushi and stuff like
Hmm.
that.
Or like if somebody had a birthday that day, aside from bringing in maybe some cupcakes to share with the class, maybe their mom or dad would get them like McDonald's, Wendy's, or one of those things. And
Oh
you're looking
my
at them and you're
god.
just like, you're gonna have to bleep me for this, but you're just kind of looking at them and you're like, you little,
Yep. Yep.
you're just kind of like, you better be sharing your damn fries with me.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I was that student
I was
because
too. Yeah.
not necessarily from like a fast food joint, but my parents own a Mexican restaurant here where I live,
Oh,
and
so they bring you food
sometimes
from the
they
restaurant?
would bring, yeah, they'd bring me like
Oh, okay, that's
mini
dope.
chimneys or taquitos, and then people would be nice to me. I'd be like, oh, you called me fat like 2 hours ago, and now I'm the queen of the world. What the heck? No, but I felt
I'd
I
be
felt like
pissed.
royalty. I felt like freaking royalty because
Right.
everyone would just notice me and be nice to me. And who knew as a kid that in order to get clout, you had to have good food. You had to have good
Unfortunately,
snacks.
fortunately or unfortunately, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
no,
kind of like
exactly.
I remember that 1000%. Like I remember there was one time, what was it? I didn't pack a lunch one day, because what ended up happening was, I think I got going really early in the morning and I just completely spaced it. And so I called my mom to say, "Can you pack me a lunch and
Yeah,
just bring it by real quick? Like just bring it, bring it. You can even bring it to the office and then they can call me up
yeah,
and I can come get it or whatever."
yeah.
And I asked the teacher, I said, "Can I call my mom? I need to get a hold of her to get stuff." And so they're like, "Yeah, go ahead." And so I did, and then she showed up with Chick-fil-A.
There you go. There you
It was
go.
nuggets, waffle fries,
Oh,
and a drink, and everyone was congregating around me, and so
I
many
bet you
kids
were
were
the
trying to
talk of the town. You were the
no,
talk of the town.
kind of, but everyone kept trying to steal my waffle fries.
What the heck?
I'm not
No,
even
that's how you get.
joking.
You got to keep it in the bag, keep it closed, and then put your hand through, close it, and then eat it.
Right, 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 right. Absolutely. Unless you're doing the chicken sandwich, and that's a tricky one.
That is tricky. That is
Yeah,
tricky.
but I
But
didn't. I never ate the chicken sandwiches until I think I got into high school.
that's fair. I've
Yeah.
always loved the chicken sandwich. They've always been my go-to. I've recently switched to the deluxe chicken sandwich, or
Oh, okay.
the spicy chicken sandwich. I
Oh, the
mean.
spicy deluxe with like the lettuce, the tomato, the pepper
Oh
jacks cheese.
yeah.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
baby. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. So,
um, whenever you would say forget a lunch or say something worked out to where you didn't have a lunch, you left it in the car, whatever, your go-to would be to call. Is that it was that
not always.
okay, so at school, was that something that teachers made you do, or was it
No. What happened was, so if I forgot my lunch or something, I would just suck it up and get a school lunch usually.
oh yeah.
But the reason being is because this day in particular, I didn't have enough money on my school lunch account in order to get a school lunch that day.
So, for those of us who are not familiar with, like, say, credit for school lunches, how does that work? How does something like that
So
work?
usually the way it works is your parents would go in, and if you were to be getting school lunch, it worked one of two ways. If you were like me and your income was above a certain level, then oftentimes then you would have to put some money toward lunches, and your parents could just come into the office and say, I want to put some money toward my child's lunch, and then they would take care of it, and then that means you're covered for a good amount of time. Now it wasn't like a huge expensive amount or anything, but
Mm,
it was like maybe like a
it
few
can add
dollars.
up.
Yeah, it can add up for a while. Now, for those who were more of a lower income or were going through situations, they did have programs that allowed them to still get lunch, though. So,
Oh,
they
okay.
did have those in place for those people, because there were lots of kids who we had who were either low income or came from some more tougher situations, and
I see.
they made it to where it's like, okay, you can still get food, because obviously no one's gonna deny you food.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but for me and my folks, what would happen is they would do that, and then you grab your lunch card and you'd scan it, right? and then
Oh,
and then after you
okay.
scan, then you go through, and they usually just had typical things, like some days they had pizza, some days they had nachos, some days they had
Mm,
like really good stuff. And what we'd end up doing was, we would do that. We would eat, and then usually that's how it go. But that day in particular, when I got the Chick-fil-A, I didn't have enough money on the account. So I called my mom, and she was still a stay-home mom, and I said, "Hey mom, can you?" I said, "I'm so sorry." I said, I forgot to
yeah.
make lunch. I said, "Can you please make a lunch and just bring it by?" I said, "I am so sorry." She said, "No problem. I got you." And then next thing you know, right before lunch, she shows up. She says, "Hi, I got lunch for Mr. Cody."
Yeah.
I'm like,
Oh
"Yes."
man, that's the best. Those are the best memories too, because you're not expecting that, when you wake up, you're not like, oh, I'm gonna have Chick-fil-A in front of my friends or at school or whatever. But it's
Chick-fil-A
just
was like
that
a luxury when you were a
it
kid.
was a
Going to a fast
luxury
food restaurant was a luxury, whereas now you
for
easily just
sure.
drive down the road and get
I
fast.
know, I know. If anything, now I'm like, nah, I don't want Chick-fil-A right
I'm the
now. I
same
just
way. Yeah,
had it a
yeah, yeah.
couple days
I just
ago.
had it a few days ago.
Yeah.
I'm not that picky though. Funny enough, it's like I could eat the same thing like so often. That's just me though. I'm not as picky. But
I
again,
can too, but my wallet doesn't appreciate that.
I agree. I agree for sure. That's why I go in and out a lot of times, because it's so cheap.
That's fair. I was,
Absolutely.
it's funny that we're talking about this because I was talking to my brother and
Right.
he's 6 years younger than me. So we had a
Okay.
totally different schooling experience
Sure.
because when I was younger, if what would happen is you would get a sheet at the beginning of the month or right before the month that was coming up came, you would get a sheet so that you could take home. And the sheet was just a calendar of all the food that was going to be served every day, every calendar day. And what you were supposed to do as a kid in my school was you were supposed to X out the little or check off the little box of the day that you wanted to eat. So if you
Right.
wanted to eat that entire month and you liked the menu for each of those days,
Yep.
you X'd it out. And
Okay.
let's just say you forgot to mention on Wednesday that you weren't going to pay. Let's say you forgot to check the box and here comes the first Wednesday of the month and you don't have it checked out and you didn't pack a lunch.
Right.
Chances were you were going to get a free lunch, and the free lunches at my school consisted of, I think, an apple and like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, which is
Okay.
ludicrous to me because everyone pays thousands of dollars in freaking tuition to get a freaking PB&J. That's stupid. That is
That's
stupid.
wild.
But if your parents did pay, you would get that school lunch. Now, I was
Okay.
talking to my brother because he actually ended up going to a public school. And I asked
Okay.
him, well, how was the lunch there? He's like, I didn't really get the lunch. And I was like, what do you mean? You're a child. Like, what choice do you have? What options do you have? And this kid tells me he would pull out his freaking cell phone and order DoorDash. If that's not highlighting how differently we grew up generationally, I don't know what else will.
One
Because
thousand percent. Because even when I was in high school and there were kids ordering DoorDash to the school, I never understood how any of that worked.
well,
So it
that's
was,
high school.
Mhm.
I'm talking middle school. He
That's
would
wild.
elementary school and middle school, he would just DoorDash himself. I mean, in high school, makes a
How
little
did he
bit more
have the
sense.
money even?
How did he have the money even? That's the thing.
You don't
First of
even
all,
know.
First of all, I didn't get a cell phone until about seventh grade. And he's over here probably in
Yeah,
fourth grade
same.
just being like, oh, I'm going to get some Jimmy Johns or whatever sent to me. What the heck? What most likely probably happened was he had my mom's card or somebody's card
I'm
on
sure
the
your
DoorDash
parents' bank
account.
account was crying, man.
I know, but it's just crazy how different those experiences were.
That's
How we,
wild.
either have to wait in line or do that walk of shame to the office so that we call our parents and ask for forgiveness and whatnot. No,
Right, right,
this kid
right,
in this
right,
generation,
right.
if they have the money, they just open up their phones and they're like, okay. Delivery spot right here at the jungle gym. Okay, my delivery driver should be here in 15 minutes. All right, guys, you guys want to share with me? Oh, Johnny, you want to add an extra fry? Okay, I got you. And then it's just, oh man.
I
I
can't
I
even
would have
wrap my
abused
head
that.
around that.
I know. I would have abused the crap out of that if I
Oh, I
had
would have
that.
too. Absolutely. No, I would have that there's a reason why you would not have wanted to give me a smartphone as a kid. I would have
Yeah.
abused that like crazy.
Me freaking too. Me
That
freaking
is
too.
that is absolutely wild. That is
Yeah.
crazy. But
But to get a
anyways,
little bit back on track. Oh,
yes.
sorry.
No, no, no. I was actually just about to go the same place, so please.
Perfect. I didn't mean to do that little
No, no, no,
tangent, but I just
absolutely.
thought
It's
it was
great.
so funny, the stark differences.
Absolutely.
Um, but for snacks and lunches, obviously you have things that, your mom makes that are specific to your mom or your dad,
Mhm.
whoever's making your snack, your grandma,
Yep.
your grandpa, whatever. And then you have mainstream snacks.
Right.
Those are the snacks that almost every kid has
Yes.
or you've seen on commercials, things like that. What were the snacks that you had that were not mainstream that made you feel sort of not better than people, but different?
Okay. This is kind of one that my parents raised me on, and this is still a favorite snack of mine today, even
Okay.
though it's not as mainstream and not many people really eat it, but I absolutely love it. Do you remember Cracker Jacks?
Cracker Jack popcorn?
Yeah, the popcorn with like the little
Yes, with the
nuts.
little,
Oh,
yes, the best.
that was my ish right there.
My mom grew up on that, so she showed me. And then,
Mhm.
obviously, as a kid, the fact that you can either get a toy or a sticker
The
or something
prize, the
inside every
prize.
box,
Yes.
oh man, it was the
I
best.
still love
Oh
the prizes,
man.
like even stickers and
Oh
stuff. I'll
yeah.
stick them on my water bottle, like and stuff. So
100%. Oh man, those are great.
yeah,
Yeah,
Cracker Jack. Yeah, and it's sad that they're not as mainstream. They're
they're
like one of
really
the best,
not.
and you would think they'd be because of how popular they've been throughout all these years.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And I mean, given the prize option as well, you have that already
Yep.
winning the hearts of the children who could purchase them.
Yep. Now, this next one is kind of mainstream, but I feel like it's one that really wasn't mainstream when at least I was young, but it
Okay.
became mainstream over time, and that is
Ah,
goldfish.
really?
Yeah. So
Okay.
here's the
Okay.
reason I say that because I always remember when I go to the store and I would shop, goldfish were always kind of off to the side, just kind of by themselves. They were amazing snacks, don't get me wrong,
Really?
but of course, over time, goldfish have become a major standard, at least
Yeah, yeah. I remember them being popular when I was a kid. Now, what wasn't popular that I used to have you ever tried whales?
whales.
They're the white cheddar goldfish equivalent, but in a whale form or in a whale shape. Now, that's the only thing that was non-mainstream that I loved.
Oh, whales! Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Stuffers whales. Yeah,
Yes.
these.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Okay,
yes,
I
yes, yes,
remember whales.
yes.
I remember whales. Yes.
Yes. But that's interesting. I'm wondering if snack popularity differed per, it obviously differs per region, but I
Yes.
wonder if it differs per like city in a state
That's
because
what I was wondering too, because when I was a kid, I wouldn't see goldfish stacked with all the other like Cheez Its and all that kind of stuff. Because Cheez
yeah.
Its were more my gold standard when I was a kid. And I
Oh,
still love Cheez
gotcha.
Its to this day, but Cheez Its were always the ones that were like really up top, really big, really this,
Mm,
and then I would never really see goldfish unless I either go to an end aisle or anything else. So it may have just been
mm,
my city. It may have just been where I'm at,
yeah.
compared to everyone else, because goldfish are incredibly popular.
Heck yeah. Now, when I was younger, goldfish were popular at my school, but what wasn't popular were the flavored goldfish that were
Oh,
uh,
right, like
either
pretzel
limited
flavored
edition.
or.
Exactly. My favorite was the pizza one, but hardly anyone had heard of
I
them.
didn't even know that there was a pizza one.
Oh, the pizza flavors are the best. The
Okay,
pizza flavored
I'll have to
goldfish, they're
try that
the
sometime. Yeah,
best.
my go to was the color, the
Oh, the
goldfish color.
colored ones are
Yeah, the
cool.
colors
The only
ones. Yeah.
issue I have with the colored ones is that they always make them very thin. I like the yellow ones
Oh,
because they
they do.
puff them
Yeah,
out,
they puff
and
them
then the
out.
color ones,
The thing
yeah,
with the color ones is though they have more of that salt thing. That's kind
they
of the
do.
staple of the goldfish.
Yeah, they do.
So,
That they do. It's so
mhm.
delicious. Oh man, I want just a little sandwich with some cheese and some goldfish on the side,
Oh man,
maybe some Kool-Aid or something, and oh
gold
man, that's
and
prime.
goldfish is scary. The thing with goldfish is that unlike Doritos and stuff, where I can usually cut myself off, goldfish I'll go through a whole thing in like a day because
100%.
it's
That
so small.
I can't have one of those packs in my house because it'll be gone within a night, and
That's
that's
why I
not
have to get
something
the
I'm proud
bulk.
of.
Exactly, the bulk, but even the bulk, like half of that will probably be gone.
Well, I'll
So it's
eat the
so
bowl
bad.
and then I'll refill the bowl. That's the problem.
Exactly, exactly. Well,
Oh
excuse
man.
me. Goldfish are so addicting. That's the thing. So
Yeah.
yeah. But what about you? What kind of snacks did you have that were not as mainstream?
To be honest, the only one that I can recall is the Wales brand
The
because
whales. Okay.
no one had ever heard of it. And even when I was describing it recently in my adulthood, I'm almost 30 in a month. I'll be 30. A lot of people still didn't even know what I was talking about. I'm like, oh man,
Right.
whales have been around for a long time.
Yep.
And I think because goldfish outshined them, it's easy to either forget that they existed or not know altogether.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just didn't even really know about whales. Like I didn't really
Exactly.
either. Another one I just kind of thought of off the top of my head before we move on is, do you remember bugles?
I
Like the little,
love
yeah, bugles,
bugles.
bugles, bugles was another one that was not as mainstream.
Shout out to everyone who'd put an individual bugle on each of their fingers to make
Oh, I
claws.
did that. I did that. I 100% did that all the time. But bugles, man, especially the flavored ones, those are so
Oh,
good.
they were so
So good. And that
good.
stuff you find in like places like Dollar Tree and stuff. And people always
Yeah,
talk about like, oh, Dollar Tree snacks, and this Dollar Tree snacks actually slap. I'm
they
not kidding around.
slap.
They slap
If you
hard.
if you're able to buy chips at a gas station, you should be able to buy chips at a dollar store.
And let
It's
me
all
tell
the
you,
same crap.
And let me tell you, I was gonna say it's exactly the same thing that you get everywhere else. It just doesn't have a name brand on it. Like
Yep.
they have generic Doritos, they have generic all this stuff. And let me tell you, it sometimes is even better.
Yeah, sometimes for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely,
With the
for
price
sure.
of chips going up right now, you can buy a family size of chips for like $6 or $7. What the heck is that? That's awful.
Absolutely, for sure. But anyways, to move into this next area, one thing I noticed about school lunch was that, we kind of, I think, touched upon this a little bit in the last section as well,
Mm,
just briefly, but I think we can get into more now. It was either time, where, it depended, how your lunch was packed. It depended on, what you were able to afford, all that kind of stuff. But my
yeah.
question to you is, as a kid, did you bring your own lunch or did you often just get school lunch?
So the only time I would bring a lunchbox every day, but that was mostly for also having a recess snack and then also a snack for after school because
Okay.
with my parents' work schedule, I was usually in the after school program till about from probably like 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. depending on how busy they were that
Right.
day. So I would have to have snacks for that. So technically I did bring a lunchbox every day, but I would buy hot lunch there. So the only time that I wouldn't buy hot lunch would be on those occasions where my parents forgot to, or when my mom would
Yeah.
forget to fill out the calendar thing, or let's say, one week she asked me if I wanted sloppy joes on a Thursday, and for some
Right.
reason a month prior I was like, heck no, but then, come the
Yeah.
day, I would bring my own lunch. But
Mhm.
the lunches that I brought were almost identical all the time just because
Okay.
I love my own routines. But
Same. Yeah.
if you were to divide me between packed lunch and hot lunch, you would have to put me in the hot lunch because that's what I got most of my school years.
Okay,
What
for
about
sure.
yourself?
It depended. Most of
Mm,
the time I did bring a lunch from home. My mom would pack it every day, obviously save money, all that kind of stuff.
for
And
sure.
I never liked sandwiches when I was a kid. I never liked
Oh.
the actual like everything put together. I liked everything separate, and I still kind of do. But now I can usually eat a sandwich, like a turkey sandwich, a
Mm.
deli sandwich, any kind of sandwich I can usually have nowadays. But back in the day, I never liked it, so my mom would pack deli meat by itself. And
Ooh, okay.
so I'd have the deli meat, which would be my protein. I'd usually have a bag of chips to go with it and a bag of cookies. That was usually my lunch.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I personally love sandwiches, but unfortunately, when it came to like say when my mom would have to pack my lunch, I would always want a sandwich, but we just never had the time. So she
Yeah.
would just pop a hot pocket into the microwave for 2 minutes, wrap it in foil, and then put it in my
Here you
lunchbox,
go.
which I also appreciated. Which I also appreciated.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. But there were times I did get school lunch. Like I said, there were times where they'd have nachos, they'd have pizza. There was
Mm,
usually Friday would be pizza day, or else they change it up, maybe do something like fried chicken or something like that, which was good.
yeah.
But when I got to middle school, I started doing lunch at the school more often for one reason only. I don't know if you had these. If you didn't, all good. Did you ever have the Tyson spicy chicken sandwiches?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so basically, it's like an offshoot of a Wendy's spicy chicken sandwich or the Chick-fil-A
Oh,
spicy chicken
I would
sandwich.
have loved
But it was
that.
Tyson, and we would have them. And to tell you the truth, that was the currency in middle school if we wanted something from a friend. I'm not
Give me
even
your chicken
joking.
sandwich.
Give me
It
your chicken
remind
sandwich if you want it's kind of like, sometimes one of my friends had a business where a little bit of a business where he would often give away like little things like stuff that you it wasn't drugs or anything crazy like that, obviously. Trust me, it
Thanks for
was.
clarifying.
Yeah, I needed to clarify. Well, because what I was about to say, they'd have like, little things you could use to play jokes on people, water balloons, stuff like that. Stuff.
Oh yeah.
Let's just say they bought stuff like that, and the currency for that, because a lot of kids didn't have actual money, would be items from the cafeteria. And one of the kids really liked spicy chicken sandwiches. He's like, "You bring me a few of those, you got what you want."
It reminds me of that the remake of The Longest Yard
Oh,
where the
yeah.
currency is cheeseburgers in jail.
Cheeseburgers, absolutely. Yes, yes, yes.
That's hilarious. No, that is so funny. I'm gonna have to try one of those Tyson chicken sandwiches if they still make them. That
I don't
sounds
know if
actually
they do
really
still make them,
amazing.
but no, they were really good. It's basically just a Tyson chicken patty on bread with some lettuce and a tomato.
That's my go-to right there. That's
I took the
simple as
tomato off
better.
all the time, so it sounds like those were kind of the staples for us. So you were more of a hot lunch person. I was more of a lunch from home person. So that's
Yes,
actually
sir.
kind of cool. It
Yes.
evens out the keel a little bit
Yeah,
there.
yeah, different perspectives for
Different
sure.
perspectives, absolutely. So, what were some of the pop culture brands that affected the way you and your friends saw lunch/snack time?
To be completely honest, it really only affected me in the way of like wanting to ask my mom, like, can you buy that for me because of
Right, right,
my
right, right,
personal
right.
interests. My friend group consisted of one other person who really just, he brought his own lunches for the most part.
Hmm.
So we didn't really have too many like brand competitions of like who had the most pop culture references on their, chip bag or whatever, but it did affect the way that I, begged my mom for certain things because there were certain characters that I really wanted certain snack shapes from. Like, say, if there was like a Spider-Man Welch's collab, which I don't think ever happened, but it's a fruit snack collab, I would want it. So it absolutely affected what I wanted to purchase.
Okay,
What about
gotcha.
you?
Yeah, in a sense, it depended. Oftentimes, my friends and I liked a lot of the same food, so that kind of bonded us. But in another way, too, is interesting. When I would watch TV or I would watch, like, characters, whether it be Arthur, Mr. Rogers, and they'd have like certain brands that they would bring in to eat,
Oh,
I would want to get those exact same brands and make the exact
mm,
same food.
Well, we were just talking about this. I think it was last episode
We
or
were,
two
yeah, yeah,
episodes
yeah.
ago, where we would get Juicy Juice just because it was
It
actually a
was a
couple episodes
sponsor.
ago. It
Yeah,
was a
yeah, yeah. It
sponsor,
was a sponsor.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. In
Yeah.
that way. But also sometimes like if a character like on Arthur was drinking, if they say like I'm drinking a club soda, I would want a club soda, which would be just,
Mm.
basically just a Perrier, basically, I guess.
So I had the exact same thing when it came to Arthur, but it was specific to the Woogles episode where he got the snap bottle cap.
Oh, the
And
bottle cap. Yeah.
exactly. And I realized that the perfect bottle cap that does the exact same noise as the noise in Arthur was Snapple. So I
The Snapple,
loved
yes.
Snapple because of that.
Yep, absolutely. And then there were I know one of the orange juice brands also kind of did that as well, but you had to have the glass ones. Now everything's plastic, so
Oh, I think I
they
know
don't do it
exactly what
as
you're
well.
talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cause and whatnot. So no, I remember exactly. There was that. I know there was one episode of Mister Rogers where he made a snack with a kid that made like a little after school snack, and then there was one
Mm,
where Maggie Stewart shared a snack she liked as a girl, and I wanted to make those snacks.
mm.
There's an episode where he went to a factory to learn how to make graham crackers, so I was a huge graham cracker hound.
Whoa,
So yeah, there was a
yeah.
lot of those different reasons as well when it came to the pop culture.
For sure. One that I specifically remember is the Danimals characters, like the monkey and
Yes.
stuff like that. I loved them, so I loved drinking Danimals.
Likewise as well. And another thing we did when we were young too is we often would trade lunches or
Oh,
snacks.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you
Oh, man.
remember what were some of your most memorable?
So actually, the only time I ever switched lunches with somebody, because in my head, I always had the better lunch because I got
Fair.
hot lunch. But one
Mhm.
time I remember I got I had like a soup or something because my mom packed it and I just
Right.
was not in the mood for that.
Mhm.
And usually soup was not like homemade. It was like either Chef Boyardee or something like that. And I
Right.
just wasn't in the mood for it. And I remember it and I think about this meal at least like once a week. So it just
Right.
shows you how much of a staple it was. That one little moment, how
Mhm.
influential it was. But there was a girl named Juliana in my sixth grade class.
Okay.
And like I said, it was very uncommon for me to switch lunches. So
Mhm.
even talking about it makes it seem like it's uncharacteristic.
Right.
But she had a bologna sandwich with a slice of cheese, which is probably like Kraft's American Singles or
Okay.
something like that,
Okay.
some mayonnaise on it, and then white bread. And I had a bag of Doritos.
Mhm.
So she took my soup and I took her sandwich. And what I did was I
Okay.
put the Doritos in the sandwich. And
Nah.
the
Okay. So
only way that
you
I can
pulled
eat
a
a sandwich,
breakfast club.
well, the only way that I can eat sandwiches, and this is very odd, but I
Okay.
have to put chips inside of them and I have
Okay.
to squish it with my hand. I have to put
Okay.
all my
Okay.
weight down so that the entire sandwich is almost flat like a panini. For
Okay.
some reason, I've just been doing that since I
Fair.
was like
Fair.
born.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even to this day, I have to squish my sandwiches. So
Fair
we'll have to
enough.
get a sandwich one day and you'll have to see my little routine.
Low key, absolutely. We will have to do that for sure. No.
And then I
Well,
have to cut it into a triangle. So I cut it into a triangle
okay.
and she was like, "Oh, wait." And then she pulls out a bottle of Red Hot from from her lunchbox. I was like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "You have to put this on your sandwich." So, I removed the top layer of the bread. I put the Red Hot on top of the Doritos.
Oh
I
no.
re-smashed it.
Oh no.
If I ever if I ever go to prison, which will never happen, knock on wood, blah blah blah. If I ever get sent to
I
prison
got you.
and I'm on death row, this will be one of the meals that I have. Like I will ask for multiple meals, but that
That's
alone
gonna
will
be the
be
main thing you're gonna want.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Your last meal.
Yep.
Okay.
My last meal. Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay, for
What about
sure.
you, my friend?
Oh my gosh. I was bad as a kid. I always traded my fruits and veggies for sweets. I did
So
that
so
more
then would
often
you
than not.
say when it came to snacking, you were more of a sweet fiend than a
Oh
savory
my
fiend?
gosh, I had a sweet tooth. I've had a sweet tooth my whole life.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of fading a bit as I'm growing older. I don't know if that's just me growing up or whatnot, but like I can't do Oreos double stuff. I can't do. A
Mm.
lot of people are gonna get mad at me for this. I don't even know how you're gonna react to this, but a lot of people are gonna get mad at me to this. I do not like Pop Tarts with the frosting on them. I will never eat a Pop Tart with frosting.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And
Okay,
I'm the guy
okay.
also who will take frosting off of a cupcake too.
Oh, whoa,
Um,
because of how sweet it is.
yeah, because of how sweet it is. I used to love it all. I used to love it, but like
Uh,
that's who I am. I won't do that. A
yeah.
lot of people look at me. What's wrong with you? Come on, John. I get it all the time, and I know I'm gonna get it from you guys too. But
That's funny.
um, but absolutely. But I remember one memorable trade was I had a bag of raisins, and I loved raisins as a kid. I
Okay.
I, I loved with a vengeance
So
raisins.
good. The sun-kissed little red boxes.
Yes, yes, the
Oh, the
sun-kissed little
best.
red boxes. But I had two boxes of those, and
Okay.
one kid comes in and he has a Coca-Cola. And he didn't want the Coke, which was weird. And I said, "Do you want my raisins?" And he just said, "Yeah." And I just threw him across the table. He handed me his Coke.
That's unheard of.
Yeah.
There wasn't a $5 bill slipped under the raisins, right? It was
Not
just
that
a
I can
fair
remember because
trade.
I didn't have $5 as a
It was
kid.
just a fair trade of raisins for a
It
Coca-Cola?
was, yeah.
What the heck? Oh man, you got lucky right there.
I
That's for
did.
sure.
I ripped him off.
Oh man. Oh man. He probably still thinks about that to this day. No, I'm kidding.
I don't know why. He just said he wasn't feeling Coke. And it wasn't like a huge can of Coke. It was like one of those mini cans of Coke.
Oh, okay, but still, I mean,
Mhm.
soda was soda when we were
Soda
kids,
was
and
soda. And I was pumped the rest of that afternoon because as a kid, that's the equivalent of drinking a Red Bull.
oh yeah, oh yeah. Thankfully,
So
sugar never really affected me in that way, but oh man, did I have a craving for it.
absolutely, absolutely for sure. And then also another thing I noticed too is a lot of snacks and lunches brought on like specific moments or feelings. And my
Yeah.
question to you is like, did any snacks like feel tied to specific moments like in your school, like if you went on a field trip, if you went like to the movies, if you went on like a hike, if you were like doing something special that day, maybe it was a party, who knows.
Yes, yes. One that stands out to me the most, which we sort of skimmed a little bit
Okay.
earlier in the podcast, was movie days.
Oh, movie
Movie
days. Yes, yes,
days
yes, yes,
will
yes.
always stand out as some of the best days I had in my youth. And that was because, like I said, your teacher would roll in a big box TV, and
Hmm.
sometimes she would have snacks. And usually, the snacks that would be laid out on the table for us to grab were popcorn, maybe a slice of pizza if the teacher was feeling up to it, pretzels, juice, and sometimes a very small candy, usually Sweet
Nice.
Smarts or something like that.
Yep, 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 yep.
And that is just so reminiscent of a movie day for me, like a rainy movie day or a non-rainy movie day, the day before school ends, blah blah blah.
Oh yeah.
That was just a staple of what we would eat. Now when it came to like field trips and stuff, it would just be like a packed lunch. So there weren't other times in my life where certain snacks were just staples for that either
Sure.
event or whatever, except for the movie snacks for school.
Gotcha.
What about
Okay.
you?
Okay, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it would depend. There were times, where if we'd go on like a field trip, oftentimes I was allowed to bring a drink other than a water. So my mom would allow me to
Mm,
take like, maybe like an orange juice, maybe occasionally a soda, stuff like that. Mostly because she
nice.
figured, the sugar will probably help you, keep moving, keep going, especially as
Yeah.
you get toward that afternoon time, and stuff like that. And then sometimes, you get those small bags of chips, and not just the bag, like where they take like a handful out and put it in a sandwich bag. I'm talking like those little small bag of chips you can get in like a 30 pack at like the store, and it has
Oh
like the
yeah.
different brands, and stuff like that. I would
Hmm.
get those, too.
Those were great. Yeah.
Yeah, because most of the time I just get chips in a sandwich bag, so it'd just be like a handful of Fritos in a bag, or a handful of pretzels in
Mm.
a bag, or a handful of Doritos in a bag, or something like that.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and whatnot. So, yeah, it just really would depend. Of course, sometimes, if we were on a field trip and we were lucky enough to stop at a place like a restaurant or something, and they say, "Hey, if you have money, go get yourself something."
Yeah.
Oftentimes, when the kids would go to the gas station and get candy bars and chips, I'd go to Wendy's and get me a burger.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. I love
I'm
that.
not gonna lie, there were teachers who were not the happiest about that, but hey, I didn't care. I'm just like, hey, it's my money.
Freedom, freedom.
Freedom, freedom. Yeah, exactly.
This is a random question, but
Yeah, what's up?
at your school, did you have any, and I'm thinking middle school, elementary
Yeah,
school,
yeah,
did you
yeah.
guys have any vending machines?
Elementary school, we did not. We had a chip rack where we could occasionally get like, Cheetos, chips, and often it was the baked
Yeah.
versions of those chips. So they weren't
Oh
the
yeah.
greatest. I didn't mind the baked hot Cheetos though. That's how I got into hot Cheetos, funny
Yeah,
enough.
those are good. Yeah.
Yeah, the baked hot Cheetos were good. I was not a fan of the baked Lay's. I was not a fan of the baked Doritos, any of that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. But it was what it was. A lot of it was because in elementary school they were trying to preserve a lot of those kind of stuff. Now, when I got to middle school, we did have a vending machine that would have snacks, and from the time I was in there from ninth grade, one of the machines had Monster. Believe it or
Oh
not.
my
They
gosh.
took that out though
That's kind of
when I
criminal. Yeah, I
got
was gonna
to
say.
they took that out eventually and then they replaced it with a lot more healthier options. And I remember there were
Gotcha.
times I come in and I would have an energy drink, my teacher, John, throw that out or like get rid of it or don't bring it to
Mm,
class. So I'm like, okay.
gotcha.
So oftentimes I would end up, before school I would do,
Yeah.
or at lunch, when nobody was telling me, and stuff like that. But yeah, otherwise most of the time it would just be water or whatnot, just little things
Mm.
like that. But yeah, no, that was usually the standard for that.
In my middle school and elementary school, we had vending machines, but they really only sold Gatorade and water.
Right, right,
Um,
right.
if you were going to get chips or if you were going to get say Otter Pops or the little like vanilla cup swirls,
Mhm.
the rainbow sorbet
Yep.
swirls or sherbet swirls, stuff like that, in the library or next to the library there was a closet, and what they would do is they would open up the closet and put a teacher in the closet with like a little table,
What?
and she had like a little fridge behind her. So you would just
Okay.
walk up to that closet and it would be open and you'd be like, "Oh, I'll have one chocolate swirl." And she would just reach back and it was like a broom closet or something like that.
Mhm.
So if you wanted to get an ice cream fix, that's where you would go, or you would go into the after school room and you would pay like a quarter for an Otter Pop. And let me tell you, I was so
Mhm.
popular every time I had $5 because that could buy you X amount of chips and X amount of Otter Pops. And it
Mhm.
was cool because it was like a personal vending machine that wasn't an actual vending machine. Now, let me
Okay.
tell you, when I got to high school, the food there was freaking amazing. Um, up until about my junior year, but throughout freshman to senior year, we had vending machines as well. And in those, we had like honey buns, we had like Arizona iced tea,
Mhm.
hot Cheetos, we had like all the brands. And let me tell you, that's where I gained the most weight in my high school years because I had access to about $5 to $10 a day.
Yep.
And those vending machines were about $1, 75 cents to $1. So I would just go ham on those. Unfortunately, they did not sell energy drinks. Otherwise, I think that would have been the most sold item there at my school.
You're right. Absolutely. 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
No, for sure. No, that's crazy. That's wild, thinking about all that. But my friend, are you ready for our favorite part of every episode?
Oh, as I am always, my friend. And do
Let's
you mind reminding our kind audience what that segment is?
Okay, I got y'all. Me. Let me get this. Ooh, here we go. I need my pitch pipe. I need my little. Give me a
There we go.
G.
There
I
we
need my
go. There we
G.
go.
Here we go. One, two, three. Fun facts and trivia. Ow! What a difference.
Ow! There you go. There you go. You heard it here first, guys. We are starting fun facts and trivia
Absolutely.
as we always do in
Take
our podcast. And I will actually
absolutely.
take this one away,
Take it away, my
starting off
friend.
with some fun facts.
Let's
So
do it.
hopefully some of these blow your guys'
For
minds.
sure.
Okay, starting off on one. Lunchables weren't originally made for kids. They were first marketed to busy adults as quick lunches and completely failed. Huh, no surprise there. Until they were
Wow.
repackaged for kids and became a cultural staple.
That's
How
wild.
crazy is that?
That's
Oh
wild
my
to think that
gosh.
that would be sold to adults when yet you would think kids are the ones who are going to like that the most.
They're barely good for kids.
That's what
I
I was going to
mean,
say.
what
I'm not the
sane
biggest.
adult? Oh man.
That's wild. That's wild for sure.
Yeah. If I were to eat Lunchables as an adult, which I probably would even nowadays, it would be the nacho ones. The
Oh, yeah,
pizzas
yeah, the
are the
nacho.
worst. The
Don't
pizzas are the
even get me
worst
started on the
Lunchables.
pizzas. No, the pizzas were horrible because it's just like a little cracker with a little bit of sauce and you put chips on, or chips, cheese
Fake little
on it,
shredded
fake little
cheese,
shredded
yeah.
cheese, and you just had to eat it like that. You couldn't warm it up. You couldn't get it
Hmm.
melted.
Absolutely. And even
Uh,
if you did, it didn't help the taste at all because it just tasted eh. Did
it
you ever
tasted like
try
garbage.
it did taste like garbage. Did you ever taste the Lunchables hamburgers?
No, and I don't think I even want to.
They weren't actually that bad. They're much better
Really?
than the pizzas, but nothing will ever beat the nachos, in my opinion.
Nachos were the best. And the thing with the nachos, those these little small chips. It's like, what the?
Yeah, as an adult, you'd need about three of those to fill you up. So I'm glad that they stuck to their.
I need like
uh
five. What are you
I
talking
need like
about?
five. Yeah, that's just a snack right there for me. So
Yeah.
I would move on to the entree. But anyway, let's not get too overexcited about
Okay,
the
okay.
Lunchables because right now we're going to be talking about Airheads. Airheads
Oh,
had a mystery flavor that wasn't random at all. The white mystery flavor was actually leftover batches mixed together. It changed depending on what was made before. So if you've ever thought, oh, this tastes similar, it's probably like this tastes similar to, say, the cherry Airhead, it's probably because it had a lot of cherry in it already, or insert whatever flavor they had the batch, an abundance of in the batch.
gotcha. Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, number three, SpaghettiOs were created because kids struggled to eat long noodles. The ring shape made them easier to scoop and eat with the spoon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Did you ever have trouble eating noodles when you were younger?
No, I personally never did. I think a lot of it was just I now of course I could never roll it up like you usually do, you know what I mean?
Oh, on your
I've
fork?
never been able to use chopsticks either for like, Chinese noodles or something like
Oh,
that.
that's fair. Yeah.
But yeah, like when you roll it up and you get it in like a ball and then you do this and then you eat that's the normal way you usually eat spaghetti.
Yeah.
I always had to use a spoon though. I always have like a spoon with me too to kind of like keep it all together because, well, you know how noodles can be,
I
and
know how noodles can be.
so every time
Absolutely.
I order spaghetti or something, I always ask, can I have a spoon with that too? So,
You know, I saw a genius video of someone eating noodles, very, very long noodles in a spaghetti plate, and they bring it up to their face, and it's this long strand of noodles. And you know what this person does?
what do they do?
Grabs their scissors and just cuts it.
Oh, that's cheat. That's cheating. That's cheating. That's cheat. That
I
is
think it's
cheat.
genius. I think
That's
it's
cheap.
genius.
In my opinion, that's cheap. But hey,
That's
who am I?
funny.
That
To
is
each
funny.
their own, then. To each their
To each
own.
your own. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
All right, number four. Pringles are made from a dough and not sliced potatoes. The
Oh,
uniform shape comes from molding, not cutting. Oh my gosh. If it's not made out of potatoes, what the heck?
that's interesting.
It's not a potato chip then.
I would say it's not a potato chip, and they're marketed as potato chips, right?
Are they? Oh man, if
I
they
don't
are,
know if they
that's
are, but no,
oh
they
man.
may not be, but that's interesting.
Legally, let's hope that they're not because that is just misinformation right there.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. And for my final fun fact, Rice Krispies make sound due to trapped air escaping. The snap, crackle, pop comes from moisture interacting with the cereal. How cool is
Oh,
that?
wow, that's interesting for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And that actually concludes my fun facts.
Sounds good. All right, well, I'll take it away with mine. So, the first fun fact that I have is while many remembered the beloved Oreo cereal, few realized it was actually essentially held hostage by a corporate bankrupt. Post and Kraft, who owned Nabisco, ended their partnership in 2007 because Post owned the cereal recipe and Kraft owned the Oreo brand. The cereal could no longer exist in the US. For a full decade, the only place in the world you could get it was South Korea, leading to a massive gray market where boxes were being sold on places like eBay for more than $30.
What? And excuse me, I knew something fishy was going on because I loved
Right?
Oreo
Right,
cereal,
right,
and then it
right,
just
yeah.
got off the
And
shelves
then they just got off the shelves,
randomly.
and that was the best cereal.
It really was. It really
I liked
was.
it better than Captain Crunch. I hated Captain Crunch when I was a kid.
Oh man, I was a fan of sugary cereals, and let me tell you, I still think about that Oreo cereal to this
I
day.
hated Captain Crunch. I did not like Lucky Charms, but I love that Oreo cereal.
Oh man, and of course, the one that we love, of course, they discontinue.
Yep, absolutely. Make a comeback, please. Please make a
Please.
comeback. So, that's a good one. Number two, in the early 2000s, snacks like Gushers and Fruit by the Foot began an arms race to see who could turn a kid's tongue the brightest shade of blue. I'm not joking when I say this. This wasn't just a gimmick. It was a response to the extreme culture of the time. Food scientists actually had to develop a specific concentration of blue number one that was stable enough to stay in a gummy center, but aggressive enough to dye human tissue on contact for several hours, a feature that was actually specifically requested by a focus group of kids.
Okay, jeez. Oh man. Let's never ask children again what they want because I can't even imagine the type of chemicals that are in that blue dye.
Yeah, it's wild.
Oh man. But boy, did we love that stuff when we were kids.
Oh, we
Just
did.
showing the imprint on your tongue of what you had just eaten was sort of like, I don't know, it was like a badge of honor.
It
Did you
was.
ever have those fruit roll-up tattoos?
I did. The
Those were
tongue
the
tattoos?
best. The tongue tattoos, there you go. Those were the best.
I remember absolutely. Yes, those were definitely interesting. Number three, 3D Doritos were a cultural phenomenon in the late 90s, but they were notoriously difficult to manufacture. Unlike a standard chip, they were made using a pillowing process where two layers of dough were flash fried to trap steam. The reason they disappeared for nearly 20 years wasn't a lack of popularity, but rather the high failure rate on the assembly line. If the seal wasn't perfect, the chips would explode or flatten, leading to massive amounts of wasted product.
Huh. I've never tried those, so or at least I don't think so, so I don't really
I've
have
tried
much to
them a
say.
couple times. Personally, I still think the OG Doritos slap harder, but
Yeah.
they weren't bad. They were just a bigger form of Dorito, and they were more in like a pyramid instead of just a flat chip.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yep. So, number four, Butterfinger BBs were the quintessential 90s movie theater snack, and they still kind of are.
Yeah.
Their downfall was surprisingly practical. Their low melting point because they were small, round, and had a very thin chocolate coating. They would often fuse into one giant misshapen lump in shipping or in a warm backpack. Despite being the center of the Simpsons marketing for years, Nestle eventually pulled them because of logistical clumping issues out uh, and outweighed the sales. My bad.
I
I
was gonna say they
cannot
don't they don't
read.
they don't offer BBs anymore.
They
They've
don't
stopped.
offer BBs anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just saying they're still kind of a staple because people still desire them, even though they're not made.
That's a great point because I remember I would get those every trip I went to Fry's to get groceries. I would grab a bag of Simpsons BBs, and then
Right.
one day they just stopped, and it was
Yeah.
one of the worst days ever.
It was low key, yeah, but they're still desired in many
Yeah,
places. And
they
if you're
really
lucky
are.
to find them on like eBay or something, and if they're still
Oh.
within date, I mean, hey, they have so many preservatives. They're who knows how long they can stay good on the shelf for.
Oh man, I don't even want to know that because that technically was something that we ate growing up.
Well, let's be real. A lot of the stuff we ate, we probably didn't know we were putting in our bodies either at the time. So
No, that's a good point. That's a good point. And you did, in fact, blow my mind with those fun facts. But now I believe
absolutely.
it's time for you to stump me a little bit because I haven't been doing that great on these past couple of trivia
Neither have
episodes.
I.
So let's see if I can have some redemption
For
today.
sure. So I have four this week. I understand you have five.
Okay.
So here we go. So number one,
Okay.
which 2000s purple and green condiment was released as a tie-in for the movie Shrek, only to be discontinued due to its unappealing look on the food?
Was it Heinz ketchup?
Yes, but specifically, what kind of Heinz ketchup? What was that actually called?
I think it was like the e-squirts or something like that.
Yes, there you go.
Yep.
Squirt's mystery color ketchup. While
Yep.
kids love the novelty of blasting green and stellar blue fries, parents reportedly found the oxidized muddy colors unappetizing. It remains one of the most famous examples of extreme food marketing gone wrong.
No, it's so funny. I recently purchased, well, actually a couple of months ago, I purchased a VHS, and inside of it, it had some promotional papers for, or promotional flyers, excuse me, for the Shrek movie, and in that were the e-squirt bottles.
Yep. Wow. That's wild. That's absolutely crazy. Um, but no, that's really cool. But anyways, number two, in 2002, which soda brand released a milk-based carbonated drink called Vanilla and later PM that was designed to be a smooth alternative to traditional cola?
Was it Coke?
Nope.
Hmm. Pepsi?
Correct. Now,
Really?
let's see if you can get the actual name. It actually had an additional name to it, so it was Pepsi something. Let's go with a color. That's your hint. That's your only hint.
Oh, I think one of our questions sort of overlaps. Is it
Maybe.
Pepsi Blue?
It is Pepsi Blue, yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Ding,
yeah,
ding,
yeah.
ding. Yes, Pepsi Blue. Though it had a cult following, many consumers were put off by its intense blue raspberry cotton candy flavor and its tendency to turn certain biological functions a bright shade of green. Don't know how that worked, but yeah.
Certain biological fun. Oh my God, I don't want to know what that means. Okay. Oh man, I'm glad it's discontinued.
I don't even know what they're trying to reference, and maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't. Ignorance is bliss.
Okay, well let's move on. Anyhow, number three, what crispy fruit shaped snack from the early 2000s featured a hollow center filled with cream and was marketed with the slogan, "The fruit snack that bites back."
Crispy with a hollow center with a cream inside of it.
A
And
hollow center, yeah.
cream is milk based.
Oh no, it's not milk based. It's crispy, hollow center filled with cream and marketed with the slogan, "The fruit snack that bites back."
The only thing that I can think of is Gushers, but I don't consider that a cream inside.
No, it is not Gushers, actually.
Hmm. I'm gonna have to concede this one. I don't know.
It was Kellogg's Fruit Disney Pixar fruit snack, specifically fruit shaped crisps.
I've never heard of those. What the
Neither
heck?
have I.
That
So,
is so cool.
these were a hybrid between a cracker and a gummy using a wafer thin cereal shell. They were eventually phased out as markets shifted toward more traditional gelatin based fruit snacks.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yep. Absolutely. So that's number three. And then number four, my last one. What 1990s and 2000 snack came in a plastic canister and consisted of tiny BB-sized pellets of ice cream frozen with liquid nitrogen?
Could it be Dippin' Dots?
Yep, that's it. Ding, ding, ding.
Let's go. I
Marketed
love
as
Dippin'
the ice
Dots.
cream of the future, its primary struggle was that it required ultra cold freezers.
Yeah. It's
Now,
still it's still popular to this day. I bought Dippin'
mhm,
Dots about a week ago. No,
it
no, two
is.
weeks ago.
It is absolutely. Now, this is going to come as a shock to many of you, and even you, my friend. I am actually not a fan of Dippin' Dots.
That's fair. What flavors have you tried?
I've only tried the main flavor as well as the cotton candy flavor, and I just wasn't a fan.
My personal favorite, if you ever get a chance to try it, is either the cookies and cream or the banana split.
I have heard of good things about the cookies and cream. My friend Willa, in fact, likes a very big supporter of
Mm,
the podcast. She really
yes.
likes Dippin' Dots, and she loves those two flavors. So yeah, maybe I'll give it a second chance. We'll see.
It has to be a hot day and you got to be ready to just burn your tongue a little bit too because sometimes they're so cold they burn your tongue.
I've heard that. I've heard that. So they usually say give it about a little bit before you actually eat it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There
Okay.
you go.
Yep. All right, my friend. Dazzle me.
There we go. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Question 1. Which candy dissolves slowly because it's compressed sugar rather than cooked syrup? Now, if you were to test a chalky candy
Hmm.
and it were to say not dissolve, what candy do you think that that would be? Think of every chalk based or chalky, excuse me, candy, and then think of the most popular one.
Ooh, I really can't think of this one. I didn't eat a lot of candy that dissolves.
Mm, okay. Do you want to give it a guess, or do
Yeah,
you
I'll
just want
give
the
it. I'll
answer?
give it a quick guess. I'm just gonna say this off the top of my head. I don't know anything about dissolving candies really, but there's only one that I kind of really know of. Is it like Waltons or whatever they call those, like with a W?
Ooh, I don't think I'm familiar with those, but
Okay,
what
okay, then that's a
what
wrong
I'm
answer for
thinking
sure.
of
Yes.
is Smarties. So I don't know if you have a memory of this, but me as a kid,
I
sometimes I'd
ate
have a cup of
Smarties.
water. I'd have a cup of water and I'd dissolve Smarties
Yes.
inside and make like a weird concoction of a drink. I don't know if you ever did that. Oh, actually, no, you hate Smarties, so you would have never done that.
I don't hate them. I didn't eat them that much is the thing. I
Fair
was more
enough.
of a sweet tarts person.
Oh, sweet tarts are bomb.
Yeah, sweet tarts are the ish. But yeah, I was more of a
Yeah,
sweet tarts person.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Mhm.
Okay, number 2. Which cracker brand has small holes to control air bubbles during baking? Don't overthink this. It's a very big cracker brand.
Is it premium?
No,
Okay.
not
Is that
saltine.
Oh, not saltine. Okay, hold
Yeah,
on,
not
hold on, hold on.
saltine.
Triscuit?
No,
Oh,
no, they
Triscuits don't
have
have holes.
holes. Yeah,
Triscuits
yeah, they
don't
have.
have holes. You're right. Okay. Dang, this is tough.
It's a popular cracker that a lot of people use to put like a sort of meat on top and then some cheese.
Ritz crackers.
There you go. Ding, ding,
Yes.
ding. There you go. There you
I don't
go.
know how I didn't think of Ritz originally. Okay.
Yes. So
Maybe because
rich.
when you said not saltines, because Ritz technically have salt, but yes, okay, Ritz crackers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
The holes allowed for steam to escape so the crackers could bake evenly. Hence the reason why
Oh.
Ritz are so pristine.
Yo, Ritz crackers are the
They're
best.
so good.
Oh
So,
my
so
gosh.
good. Oh
Yeah,
man, they're
careful
slept
getting
on.
me them though, because I will go through one in a hole.
Oh, the entire row I can go through for
Yep,
sure.
absolutely.
For sure. All right, number three. Which sandwich product removes crust and seals the edges during manufacturing? Now, think of like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Okay. What sandwich processor? So it's a machine then?
No, it's the product itself, the name of the
Hmm.
product. They
Oh
actually
goodness.
still sell it to this day.
I I don't know. I'm sorry, I have to concede. I don't even have a guess for this one.
Uncrustables.
Oh, Uncrustables. I never had Uncrustables.
They're so good, but they're so bad for you. They have so much
Okay.
sugar.
Shoot, I've never even I don't think I've even ever seen it. I've just heard it by name.
Yeah, so the bread is pressed and then sealed to close the peanut butter and jelly filling
Oh my
inside.
gosh, the Smuckers.
Yeah, the
Oh,
Smuckers
I feel dumb now.
Uncrustables.
Okay.
Oh man, they're so good, but it's better to make them
Yes.
at home,
I
people.
agree 100%.
All right, number four. Which ketchup variant was discontinued after being sold in multiple artificial colors? Now, this answer is the same answer as the one that you had, my friend. So I
Heinz
hope
Easy
you get it.
Squirt Mystery Color Ketchup.
There you go. Now, food coloring was added to create non traditional ketchup colors, but apparently that still didn't win over the hearts of the public, hence the reason why it was
Okay,
discontinued.
okay, okay.
But these were the types of ketchups for those of you who are not familiar with it or might have, an idea, might not have an idea of what we're talking about. These were in colorful containers and you could get green ketchup, you could get purple ketchup, you could get pink mustard or something like that,
Hmm.
and it was just a kooky idea, and apparently it just didn't hold
Right.
on to our hearts.
Yeah.
Hence the reason we can't buy it nowadays.
Right, right.
But yes, you did get that right. Ding, ding, ding.
Okay, cool, cool.
And for my final question, which I also answered in my trivia section, in your trivia section, is which PepsiCo lemon lime soda introduced in the early 2000s was discontinued after a short run?
Say that one more time. Sorry, I got distracted for a second.
No worries. Which PepsiCo lemon lime soda introduced in the early 2000s was discontinued after a short run?
Pepsi Blue?
Yes, sir. It used artificial coloring and berry flavoring instead of traditional cola. Ding, ding, ding. There you go, my friend.
Let's go. We got some right this time.
Yeah, yeah, we did. So we're doing
Yeah.
better. We're improving
Yes.
this
Really
year.
good, really good fun facts and trivia this time. We
Yes,
did
yes.
we did far better than we have been doing these last few times, I feel like.
Ain't that the
For
truth?
For sure, absolutely. Well, folks, we don't have a whole lot more to go with this one, but you know what? We got another area we got to talk about. And the one thing we got to talk about now are the snacks that disappeared or got discontinued.
R.I.P. Oh man.
Absolutely. And I feel
Oh,
like there's always going to be a big place in our hearts for the foods that no longer exist, but yet we
yeah.
grew up with when we were young. Which ones do you still think of that no longer exist?
Butterfingers BBs.
Butterfingers BBs are one.
At least
Yeah.
once a month, I think about the packaging and how great it tasted. But
Mm.
besides that, Wonder Balls,
Wonder
which
Balls.
was a hollow shell made out of chocolate with either candy or toys in the middle. Now, they actually, I believe, were banned or discontinued because
Oh.
children were like choking on them
Oh
or
man.
something happened. They might still have them, but something happened to where they changed what the Wonder Ball had inside because before it
Oh,
was little
okay.
toys.
Yeah.
But then they transitioned over to candy. Besides that, Yogos, which are yogurt covered little
Same,
gummies,
same, same.
so freaking good. And then ooze tubes. Oh man,
Oh,
they were
ooze
just
tubes.
They looked like toothpaste bottles, but you can squeeze it, and you can for sure find something fruity and sometimes sour to meet your tongue. It was freaking delicious.
How many
And
times
then,
did you just use it and just put it on your tongue itself?
oh, my friend, too often, and my dentist hates me for that. Let me just say that.
Same, mine does too, honestly.
Pillsbury waffle sticks, those were awesome
Oh,
in the
I forgot
morning,
about those. Yes.
pop them in the toaster, pop them in the microwave, just rip them apart and then dunk them in syrup. They were the best. And then Trix yogurt. Oh my gosh, we're um what's the saying for Trix? It's like
Oh yeah,
with the
Trixie.
rabbit, something like that. But the yogurt
Does that
was
really
so
not
so
exist
good.
anymore?
Apparently, the Trix yogurt doesn't exist the way that we knew it as. And then the last thing that I don't know if you've heard of this. I know for a fact you
Silly
haven't
rabbit
tried it.
tricks are for kids. Is that
Yes, there you
yeah?
go. Silly rabbit tricks are for kids.
Silly
That's
rabbit
perfect.
tricks are for kids. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. But I know for a fact you have not tried these, but have you heard of them or seen them? I think you can still see
Yes.
them. The Oscar Mayer ones. No, actually, this is a different one. This is a different. It's an Oscar Mayer
Okay.
brand in the
Okay.
store. You might still see them. I know you haven't tried them, but the cheese-filled hot dogs.
No, those I have not tried. You're right.
No, no, but have you seen them?
No, I don't think so.
Really?
No.
So they were a novelty when we were kids. They were very rare, but now you can
Okay.
actually still find them if you walk down Safeway, down the deli aisle or the prepackaged deli aisle. You'll be able to find them
What'd you
there.
say? They're
Actually,
cheese stoked.
cheese, yeah, pretty much cheese stuffed hot dogs, and they're the Oscar Mayer ones. But apparently, a certain type of them was discontinued. The regular cheese ones are still available to this day.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, the Oscar Mayer. So they do
Yeah,
have some of them still, but the main ones that
yeah.
we were thinking that you're thinking of were yeah, they were.
Yes, yes. And that I think also had like jalapeno in it or something like that.
I'm not gonna lie. As novelty as that sounds, this actually looks disgusting.
It was disgusting. It was, but the idea of having a cheese-filled hot dog as a kid, it was so cool.
Yeah, it's cool. I don't know if I ever would have liked that, to be honest with you.
No, that's well, like I said, the flavor was absolute crap, and I didn't like the flavor, but the idea of
The
it prior
idea
to
was
trying
cool.
it, yeah,
Yeah, okay, sounds
exactly.
good for sure.
What about you?
So obviously Kellogg's Yogos were ones that I wish they'd. I love
Oh
those. Kellogg's
yes,
Yogos for sure. Did you ever hear of Kudos bars?
kudos bars. Let me do a quick search.
Oh, these were good. These were good. I can tell you if you want, but yeah, if you want to take a look real quick, go for it.
Kudos
Oh,
bars.
Kudos bars were the best.
Oh man, I've never tried these, but they look freaking
They
amazing.
were freaking amazing. They were a granola bar brand known for being a sweet candy-like snack because it had a chocolate coating and often mix-ins like M&Ms, Snickers, and even bits of Hershey's mixed with.
Freaking yum. That sounds amazing. Now, one brand that I did eat of the granola were the Quaker Oats, like you
Same.
mentioned earlier.
Yes, yes, the Quaker Oats with like the chocolate chip and
Yes.
yep, absolutely. Those were amazing for sure. And then of course Scooby Doo fruit snacks. I do not
Hmm.
understand why those got discontinued. Probably because of all the health reasons and probably because of all the other stuff. So yeah, it was
There's a lot
wild.
of competition too.
There is low key. There is a lot of competition, but those are the main ones that I can think of. There's probably a
Mm,
lot more, but those are the main ones right now that I think of.
gotcha, gotcha. Now, even if it wasn't discontinued, then were there any limited edition flavors or like pop culture collabs that you prided yourself in having?
Yes. One was, of course, well, these are still kind of common, I think, but when we were kids, these were huge, were the Birdie Bots every flavor beans from the Harry Potter films. Those
Oh
were,
my gosh, yes.
yes, yes,
Oh
yes.
man.
Yeah, and
Uh
and they were in limited run boxes. They still sell generic ones, but the OG ones that actually were of the Harry Potter marketing, those were the best.
yeah, getting
Um,
earwax.
Earwax didn't taste that bad, to be honest with you. I didn't think it was that bad. Sardine wasn't bad. Dirt wasn't bad. Vomit was horrible. I remember
Oh
I
yeah.
got I was like Albus Dumbledore. I unfortunately came across a vomit flavor one. I'm not actually gonna lie. It did make me
No.
sick.
That's disgusting.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was nasty.
I've played Bean Boozled. I've played every now and then, and let me tell you, the vomit one makes me want to vomit. It's the worst
It was
flavor there
bad.
is.
It's bad. Yeah, absolutely. And then I actually did try Pepsi Blue. Speaking of which, one of the things that
Really?
came up in our things. Yeah, it was notorious. Obviously, I'll get into it a little bit since we talked about it in our fun facts and trivia heavily. But it was basically a berry cola fusion to compete with the Mountain Dew Code Red, which is still sold today.
Hence the lemon lime flavor too.
Yep,
Okay.
and it was notorious because obviously it stained tongues like everything else. But it was pulled from shelves around I think it was 2004, 2005 because the it was poor sales and man was it sweet. It was sweeter than an energy drink.
Was it sweeter than a Mountain Dew?
In my opinion, yes.
Whoa.
Yeah. Oh
Now that's
my
sweet.
gosh, it was sweet. It was like if you took a Kool-Aid burst and you mixed it with like a pound of Red Bull. That's what it tasted like almost.
Oh, whoa. And I know there are people who enjoy that stuff, but that's not my cup of tea,
That's not
that's
my
for
cup
sure.
of tea either for sure. So those were the two ones. What about you?
I remember a collab between Danimals and the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, where if
Mhm.
you opened up the aluminum tab on top of the Danimals, it would tell you if you won a trip. It was like a cruise,
Mhm.
and you could like meet them. And I remember how popular that was when I
For
was a
sure, for
kid.
sure.
I never really cared for like those types of collabs, but I thought it was cool that you could win a trip. Not saying anyone ever did.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
the one freaking thing that I wish still existed to this day, no matter what time of year or whatever, were the Yoplait Go-Gurt tubes with the
Oh,
lightsabers
yes.
on them.
I remember that. Yeah,
Back
the
in
Star Wars
2002,
editions. Yeah.
exactly. And then the Yoda one was like glow in the dark. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Those were the best. Those
Yes,
were
yes,
the
yes. I
absolute
remember.
best.
I remember those. I never had them really, but I saw them in stores often.
Oh man, I had them every chance that I got.
That's
Every
what's up.
chance that
That's
I
nice.
got.
That's awesome. That's
Yes.
awesome for sure. That's really cool. Now, I do have another question is have you ever tried a modern version of an old snack that it got discontinued?
Not necessarily snack, but cereal I have.
Cereal, okay.
Just because I don't really snack like I used to. I used to
Mhm.
have a bigger sweet tooth when I was a kid, and now I'm very savory. So I'm still
Mhm.
eating the same things with the same ingredients.
Gotcha.
But the um cereal that I tried that had changed drastically from how I remember it was Pops
Mhm.
cereal. And for some reason it just didn't hit the way that it used to when I was a kid. And I think it's because they changed the ingredients.
Gotcha.
Which I mean it makes sense because companies evolve and things are going to change, so it makes sense. What about you?
Absolutely 100%. The one that I tried was another Pepsi product. It wasn't Pepsi Blue, but I don't know if you ever heard of this one. It was Crystal Pepsi when they brought that back around 2011.
Oh, the clear one, the
The
one that's like
clear one.
Sprite.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I
yeah.
didn't realize they brought it back because I know that it was a thing in the 80s.
Yeah, it was a thing in the 80s. It wasn't terribly popular, but it was brought back for a limited run. It was actually not bad. It was almost kind of like a Pepsi version of Sprite, which I thought was kind of cool.
Oh,
So the next thing I want to ask you is, why do you think so many iconic snacks get discontinued or changed dramatically over time? Whether it could be ingredients, flavor, popularity, like what do you think?
yeah. Personally, I think it could be a couple of things. I think that they could either be socially banned because, say, a bunch of moms or whoever
Right.
start realizing, oh, well, these ingredients are not that great. So
Right,
then,
right,
they
right.
start going on TikTok and Instagram or whatever platform they have, blogs,
Mhm.
and, the general public starts hopping on that train and they're like, okay, well, you know what? That has red dye, so let's try not to have that. So part of it is a social ban, but another thing is also the FDA. A lot of people have mistrust of the FDA, rightfully so,
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
the FDA is completely flawed. But
And they've
they
done
try
some
to
things in the past that have kind of made us betray their trust a little bit.
1000%. Let's just say our health is not their priority.
No, of
So
course not.
a social ban, usually in spite of the FDA, but also because people do their own research, but also because big corporations cut corners too.
Yes, they
You'll
do.
you'll have something that's freaking delicious and then also semi-healthy, and then the CEO will sell the company to somebody or something like that, and
Mhm.
then they change it to cut corners, and it either tastes worse or it ingredients wise is worse. So like I think I think that they get discontinued because they're either socially seen as bad now,
Mhm.
and then or or the companies drastically change the ingredients to where people no longer want it because it doesn't taste the same anymore.
Absolutely. No, I hear that 100%.
Yeah.
I
What do you
definitely think that
speculate?
has a lot of that. I agree with a lot of what you said as well. I think definitely, there's definitely a lot that goes in when it comes to like FDA and a lot of different organizations and whatnot. But I also think, of course, poor sales, is one. I mean, we see
Oh yeah.
products, of course, they don't sell well, even though there's a small minority of people that like them.
Yeah.
It just doesn't take off with the general public. And then they're like, well, thanks for liking it, but we got to pull the plug. It's kind of like
Yeah.
one of those things. I think changes in the times as well. Obviously,
Mhm.
as a lot of people are becoming more health conscious, a lot of stuff that didn't have the best of things, people are less willing to buy it, which leads to poor sales at times. And I
True.
think also there are
True.
companies now that are starting to kind of phase those out and they're trying to go away from a lot of those areas. And
Yes.
so, or go away from a lot of those corporations or people, and then the next thing you know, they're starting to make alternatives to some of those, or else they
Mhm.
replace it with something totally different.
Mhm.
So definitely think that, obviously ingredients, like I said, and health reasons. There's a lot of foods that we loved growing up, but because of health reasons, they got discontinued.
Yeah. This is random, but were there any um
Mhm.
notable snacks that you grew up on that had a change, like say in ingredients that you stopped eating because it was such a drastic change?
Probably a lot of like gummy flavored stuff, not gonna lie.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of it's because like if you look at a lot of them, they had a lot of different, dyes, chemicals, stuff like that. And
Yeah.
oftentimes, unfortunately, that made it taste better. But then all of a sudden now
Yeah.
you get gummies that taste like actual fruit, and you're kind of like, don't get me wrong, it's good stuff, but it's like, man, if I'm gonna enjoy some like gummy stuff, I want it to taste like,
Yeah.
one of those. And sometimes now,
Traditional.
yeah, traditional. Now they taste a lot more like the actual foods they're representing, I notice.
No, that's fair. I mean, in order to be more health conscious, you have to sort of weigh in the type of ingredients that you want for your snack. And unfortunately,
Yep,
sometimes the best tasting ingredients are also the worst for you.
for real, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So I have actually a quick question that will
Mhm.
lead us into the next segment,
Of
the
course.
final segment
Yes,
too.
yes.
And this is for like an ideal day, walk us through your perfect childhood lunchbox. Who packed
Ooh,
it?
okay.
What's inside? Set the scene for us.
So when I was a little kid, when my mom was a stay-at-home mom, my mom usually packed my lunch every morning, and oftentimes, as I kind of mentioned earlier, it was usually turkey meat, a bag of chips, and cookies. And I'm just gonna put this out here. Sorry. It's so it makes you realize just the little bit of special moments of how much moms really do for us. I'm not saying dads don't
Oh
either,
yeah.
but every day when I went to school and I would see that lunch, it would just always remind me how special my mom is and how special and how much
Yeah.
she loved me that she was willing to go through every morning to make me a lunch. And there were times when I'd go to detention or I'd get in trouble, I'd look at that lunch and I'd be like, man, you start your day off, with mom making you lunch. I love you, honey. Do good stuff. And now you feel like this kid who like I didn't live up to this, and you're looking at that lunch going, my gosh. And this
Do
was
I
just
deserve
me.
this?
Do I really deserve this? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And looking back now, I see just how much she went through just to make me happy for a little bit. And I just got to give my mom a shout out for all she did. And I got to give my dad a shout out too, because, he also, when we go shopping or stuff, he'd make recommendations. Oh, do you think Jonathan would like this? Do you think he'd like that? So, and then my
Hmm.
mom would pack. So I just got to give a quick shout out. And sorry. And I know I went quiet there for a bit, but it does kind of make you emotional when you think about it a little bit.
It really does. It's a small luxury that, we're afforded if we have parents that love us or we have somebody in our life that loves us.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of people don't have that. And
Or they take it for granted.
or they take it for granted. And to be able to have that and still acknowledge that, that's amazing because I bet many of us included, if we could snap our fingers and go back to a day where we
Mhm.
can open our lunchbox, see a love note from our parents
I had
or
that too a lot.
see like this special sandwich they packed or whatever they packed for us, a lot of us would go back to that because it was just such a simple time for us to sort of surrender our appetite to our parents, either budget or their own taste, things like that. And it was freeing, but also it's just so comforting. And
Yeah.
this is what the podcast is all about, talking about moments like these that
Hmm.
that make us reminisce and force us to think about certain pasts and whatnot that we've experienced, whether it's good or bad. In this case, it's a beautiful memory, and I'm really glad that you
Yeah.
gave them a shout out, because that's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah, exactly. And sorry, I didn't mean to get quiet there, but sometimes, I was about to get a frog in my throat because it really touches me, and
Yeah.
it does, it hits in the feels, because you realize just how special your folks are and all the trouble they go through to make sure you just have a good, nutritious lunch and to make sure that you're just well off.
True, true.
So,
And although sometimes, our parents might not be thinking when they give us the most sugary snack in our lunchbox, it
oh, sure.
still hopefully comes from love.
Oh, it does. Absolutely. And I can say for my folks, it absolutely did.
Yeah.
So yeah, but occasionally some other times, like if I hit a milestone, my birthday was always in the summer, so I never got like a birthday lunch or anything like that because my birthday was in
Mm.
June, so school would be out, so I never got that luxury. But occasionally, or if I had like a doctor's appointment and like my mom had to pull me out of school to go to the doctor,
Yeah.
sometimes we would stop off for lunch, or she'd get me something a little more special, or sometimes it'd be like oh, we're coming back from the doctor. Hey, do you want Wendy's or do you want this? So.
Oh, nice. Oh,
So
man.
yeah, occasionally it'd be something like that. But that was really all for me. What about you?
My mom stopped packing my lunch around fifth grade.
Okay.
Um, but when she did, and even when I did, a can of Chef Boyardee, some chips,
Nice, nice. Okay.
Capri Sun, Nachos Lunchables. Those were like perfect lunches that I remember having on
Right.
the days that I didn't have hot lunch.
Okay.
Hot Pocket, Totino's pizza
Yep, yep, yep.
rolls. And then on the very rare occasion, we would have Peter Piper the night before and we would have some left over.
Oh, snap.
Oh man, let me tell you, some cold pizza in a lunchbox is the best. I loved it.
And
But those
sometimes
are
I didn't even warm it up. The cold pizza was the novelty, weirdly enough.
exactly, exactly. Well, I didn't really have access to a microwave, so that was my only choice.
Oh yeah.
But even if I had an option, I would probably still eat it cold.
I agree 100%.
Yeah,
Sometimes there's nothing like just pulling some pizza out of your fridge and just eating it. I don't know
there
what
you
it is,
go.
but yeah. I mean, it's not as long as it's not growing anything, you're good. I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. I couldn't
No,
help it.
I mean it's true. I don't want to see fungus on my pizza
Yep,
or
absolutely.
mold.
For sure. Well, anyways, before we turn everyone's stomachs, let's
Yeah, I know.
let's get going. But no, that's really cool. But no, but yeah, but it's interesting. Over time, I feel like, a lot of snacks and lunches kind of faded in popularity over time. What do you think really of any of the stuff that you remember and that we ate really kind of shaped the test of time and stood and still stands to this day?
Cheez-Its.
I agree. Cheez-Its.
Cheez-Its for sure. And then I'm also going to say Goldfish, but that's from my experience, like at my school.
I agree.
It was
Yeah, yeah,
popular
yeah.
when we were kids, and I
Okay.
think it still is.
Oh, it is. It's 100% popular. I mean,
Yeah,
Goldfish it slaps. It's good stuff.
it slaps. Yeah.
Mhm. I would also say Doritos for sure
Oh
still.
yeah, Doritos. Yeah, the big
Fritos.
name companies for
Yeah,
sure.
all of them still. And a lot of these brands, Doritos, Fritos, Tostitos, they existed when our parents were kids too. Like this
Yeah,
is
they did.
nothing new, really. Like, Fritos corn chips existed then, Doritos existed then. A lot of the
Yep.
popular brands, of course, all the soda brands, Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper, all of those
Hmm.
existed then. So a lot of these were not new, and they're just carrying over to a new generation each time.
Really though, exactly.
Yeah, and then of course, okay, you're gonna think I'm a little crazy, but one thing I am an absolute sucker for, and oftentimes I would take in my lunch when we got them in early January to March, were Girl Scout cookies.
Oh man, I love Girl Scout
I still buy
cookies.
Girl Scout cookies to this day. Like,
Me
like
too.
when I see them outside of a thing, I'm always like, "Do I have cash? Do I have cash? Do I have cash?"
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
else
Well,
if I
now
know
now
'em-
they take cards. They take cards now.
Oh, really? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
now I'll have to remember that. So I always will buy either a box of my favorites are the Thin Mints, the Dosey Does, and the what's the one with the little peanut butter in the middle?
Tagalongs.
Tagalogs. Yes, those
Yeah.
are my three faves.
My favorites are the Thin Mints, the Samoas,
Oh, the
and the
Samoas.
Tagalongs as well.
Samoas are good. I'm just not the biggest coconut fan, so
Oh,
that's
I
maybe why.
love coconut.
But no, Samoas are not bad actually. I will eat Samoas when somebody has them or brings them out. But yeah, those are go
Do you
tos.
put do you put Thin Mints in the freezer?
I've never done that. No.
Try it. It's so good. It
Okay,
is so
I'm gonna
good.
try that next year
Yeah.
when I get a box. But no, when there were times when I was young, even if I had money to afford Girl Scout cookies, I would buy a box and I would hide them. So then,
Well, they're a
because my
luxury. They're a
yeah, they're a
luxury.
luxury because my folks also love Girl Scout cookies. They will go through. My dad is the biggest dosey dough hound to the point
Really?
where, oh my gosh, the whole box will be gone in a single night.
Oh man. With my two brothers, you can't really have anything and expect for it to be there the next day. So
And
you
even if it
gotta,
has your yeah, in my household, even if it has your name on it, if it's out in the open, it's fair game.
oh no, if it's in the house, it's everyone's.
Yeah.
There's no putting names on anything.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, that's funny. So yeah, so no, those definitely have stood the test of time, I feel like for sure. So
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
when it
yeah.
comes to looking back though at the
Mhm,
snacks that we loved, which one do you that is no longer
mhm,
with us, RIP,
mhm.
do you wish that the youth of today could experience?
I would say probably either Kudos bars or Scooby Doo fruit snacks.
Oh man, that's so true. I get so sad now thinking that people can't
Mhm.
now experience
And
Scooby-Doo
Kudos bars
snacks.
too, especially before testing. Like, can you imagine like you could literally make the argument, it's tasty and healthy for you, you know?
Sure, I guess depending on how you spin it, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. You could spin that in like a million different ways. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's absolutely wild. But what about you?
Yogos.
Yogos, yes, that's another one I was thinking of too. But the other two just kind of outshine. But yes, Yogos, I agree. I think
Yeah.
that for sure. Yeah, yeah. But anyhow, any others, or is that the only one, or
That's actually the only
the
one.
only
That's the only
one?
one I think
Okay,
about like
no
that.
problem, no problem, absolutely. And then my last question for you before we round this episode out is, what do you think made those snacks special? Was it the snack, or do you think it was the time in our lives, or do you think it was something else?
I think it's definitely a mix of everything, you know. As we get older, our bodies and minds process foods differently, and
Here,
you
here.
know, as kids, we have the luxury of being able to eat a lot without having to feel the repercussions of it, you know,
Right.
in your energy or like say in body fat or in your blood and whatnot.
Hmm.
Um, but because of that, I think that's why it's special when we're younger. It's
Yeah, I
because
agree.
there aren't really that many negative effects. And then also, like, when you have adult money, you also realize how expensive things are too. So as
Yes.
a kid, you know, the idea of it, you know, just being in your pantry, it's coming free to you because obviously your parents work hard for
Yep.
it. But I think a lot of it is nostalgia, and then a lot of it is because, you know, when we're kids, that's what we crave, and then as
Yep.
adults, you know, we our appetites change.
I agree 100%. That's definitely part of it. I think it's more like, I mean, I agree with what you said, but I also think that, for one, of course, there's the snack, but it takes us back to a time I feel like when in our lives we were just careless, innocent, and our only job was to have fun, really. And I feel like that was kind of one thing some of these foods remind us of, because sometimes we'd be playing outside in the backyard, we'd be playing baseball in the street with our friends, and we come in for a quick snack, and oftentimes these were the snacks that were there for us, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's
Or,
one
or
thing.
after a day at the pool.
Or a day at the pool, yeah, you never know. Just any of those, yeah, you just that's what was waiting for us when we wanted something to munch on, you know?
True.
And
Yeah.
the foods we had when we were hungry. So yeah. And the other thing I think too is, I don't think people think about this a lot, but this is something else I thought about. Food really builds community if you think about it. Food
Oh yeah.
is something that builds relationships. Food builds and exposes us to so many cultures. Every culture has their own food and their own way of eating. And sometimes when we get exposed to new foods, we get exposed to new parts of our world and new people and new things. And food
Yeah.
really is kind of thing. I mean, even like they say in the Reading Rainbow episode, bread is for eating. Bread is the staff of life. It's every culture has a bread, every culture has something, and just with bread, every culture has different food. And I think it's
Mm-hmm.
amazing to see just how many connections get made just over food, weirdly enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
100%. And then also, it's really cool to go on platforms like, say, YouTube, and
Yes.
then watching people try, or even you yourself ordering boxes from different cultures and different countries and seeing the types of snacks that they grew up on and seeing the types of foods that they eat and how they either vary or are similar to ours as Americans.
Absolutely, 100%. Because every place has different foods, different things that they eat, that come from everywhere else. Like, Heath bars, come, I think, from somewhere overseas, but they're
I
amazing.
love
I
Heath
love Heath bars,
bars.
and I love the Klondike version of them. Oh man, those are so good.
Oh, I
You
don't know if
know,
I know those.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. But there's just different kinds of foods like that. But of
Yeah.
course, we could go far deeper, but there's just a lot of different foods in this
Mm,
world that, they come from different parts of the world. They come from different
mm-hmm.
parts of our country even, or even different
Mm-hmm.
cultures that are within our country. So it's
Mm-hmm.
really amazing just to see how food brings people together at the same time.
Absolutely. And it's also really cool to think about how different we all are. Even if we went to the same school, even if, you had friends at the same lunch table, everyone brought something different to the table. And that
Yep.
just shows you how different each household is, how different each parent is. And that's just so cool. It's a melting pot of diversity for our bellies.
Absolutely, 100% for sure. Well, my friend, I think that's another successful episode in the books.
Cha-ching.
We did it. I can't believe it. It's amazing. We did it. No, I'm just kidding.
We did it. Hooray.
Great. Food often brings people together and plays a major role in forming our lives. From good foods like fruits and vegetables to snacks like cookies, chips, and other random goodies. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe here on YouTube and hit that little bell for all the notifications so you can be notified every time we do episodes. And we're hoping to get some more stuff going too over on the YouTube. And also make sure you follow us wherever you get your podcasts. We are on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on Deezer, we're on Audible, we're on Amazon Music, we're on so many different platforms, Outcast, and if we're not on one of your favorite platforms, please let us know. Shoot us a DM and we'll try and get on that platform as well. And as I always like to close this out, until next time, my name is John,
And I'm Ramona.
and we'll catch you on the rewind, folks. Take care, everyone.